A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Five bells. Stand by all stations.
Attention! All districts, a five-alarm fire. 5 bells, move in immediately.
That's it. Let's go! Let's go! Firefighters!
Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In just a minute, we'll join Chief Cody and rookie fireman Tim Collins at the fire in the storage loft, which has presented Tim with the puzzling question of why it is dangerous in this case to fight an ordinary fire with ordinary water. The bales on the second floor, where the blaze has gotten a head start, are made up of nothing more than rags to be sent on to paper manufacturers. Anyway, the dense smoke has so far made it impossible for the engine company to hit it with plenty of water, and the rescue company men have donned heavy masks which enable them to work their way right up to the flames. All except Tim Collins, that is. And if you don't remember the risk he faces, well, we'll join him right after this message. Let's go, firefighters. Let's join Chief Cody and rookie fireman Tim Collins as they stand before the street entrance to the storage loft, from which heavy clouds of dense, acrid smoke are pouring. Tim, in his Draeger helmet, which looks something like a light diver's helmet because of the circular glass window, well, Tim is anxious to join his buddies on the second floor. But the chief is afraid the engine company boys, trying to work their way up the stairs without masks, will be driven back. Actually, the emergency is far greater than that, as they discover when Lieutenant Dillon stumbles up out of breath, dizzy from an overdose.
Hey, you and your men look pretty badly done in, Lieutenant.
Yeah. You got right up to the head of the stairs, Collins. That's where the flame seems to be concentrated. And there's not a minute to lose, Dillon. No, sir. But not only for that reason, sir. One of my men crawled ahead. Just got off the stairs onto the second floor. We were getting the hose up for him when he keeled over.
Good grief. You mean he's still there?
Yes, Chief Cody. We couldn't get to him.
Well, could your men give me a protective shower from the line while I crawled up there myself?
It's the only way. We can still get part way up. But you wearing that Draeger helmet...
Right, Lieutenant. You take over, Tim.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that man who passed out up there.
Andy Parker. He'd already gotten too much smoke, but he said he was all right.
Oh, that guy's got what it takes, Chief. He's the kind that never gives up.
There's a friend of yours, Collins?
Don't say was, sir. He is a friend of mine. I'll bring him down.
I know how you feel, son,
There
but...
can't be any buts, Chief. And he'd do the same for me. I'm going to get him back down those stairs or else.
You can't do more than is humanly possible, Tim. But good luck to you. Are your men ready to head back into those fumes, Lieutenant?
Of course. I had to order them back or they'd have gone up after Parker and been overcome themselves. We're going to take that line in again, men. Never mind the fire this time. We'll stay behind Collins of the rescue squad and give him a good bath.
Okay, sir. I'll close the glass plate in my helmet if there's nothing more, Chief.
Nothing more. Except that the flames have already reached that young fellow up there. Don't try to do the impossible.
Yes, sir.
Well, here, let me close that for you. Make sure it's good and tight.
How long can he work in that mask, Chief?
Well, much longer than this will take. Several hours before that cylinder of oxygen on his back is used up.
Well, here we go. So long, sir.
What do you mean, so long, Lieutenant? I'm following Tim in myself. Come along.
Suppose the fire's worked into the stairs. Suppose they collapse.
Well, then I'll never get my retirement paid. Your men are done in. Any extra hand on that heavy line will help. Let's roll.
Quickly, the two men follow Tim in his weird-looking outfit inside the building, and coughing and choking, move toward the stairway. Through the tears caused by the dense, acrid smoke that billows down on them, they watch Tim start...
Chief,
The flames are licking the wall already, up at the top of the stairs.
Is that where Andy Parker is?
He's more to the left. Collins may make it in time, though.
Then let's get this hose up the stairs a bit. You can hardly see Tim for the smoke.
Are you men at the nozzle? You up ahead of us. Pull the line forward a mite.
That's it. Not too far, not too anxious now. You go too far up and you'll keel over. Come right down on top of it.
That's about it. Collins seems to be close to those flames up there now. Let him have it.
Hey! Not too much pressure, not too much. You're not hitting a fire, you know. Just give Tim a protective screen of water. He doesn't have to worry about the smoke.
Higher. Aim for the ceiling and let it drizzle down. You don't want to knock him off the street.
Well, that seems to do it, Lieutenant. About as far up as your men can go. It's up to Tim now. Look, Lieutenant. There he is.
Yeah, nice work. He's got the boy.
Don't hit him with the direct stream now or you'll spoil everything.
He'll make it now, Chief. I got to think of my men. All right. Get your hose. Drop the nozzle and get out of here.
All right. Let's get out of their way. I swallowed so much smoke it's going to come out of my ears for weeks.
Easy does it, Collins. Just a few more steps.
He can't answer you in that mask, Lieutenant. You can hoist your man Parker off his shoulders now.
I got him. Heading outside now. You give Collins a hand and we'll be out before you know it.
A moment later, the firemen are free of the heavy smoke. They stand around, still choking and coughing, but trying at the same time to gulp deep breaths of the air outside the storage loft. Tim alone has escaped its effects, and no sooner does he have the mask off his head, the equipment off his shoulders, than he says,
Lieutenant, let me take Andy now. You and your men have enough to do to stay on your own feet. Chief, I'll take him over to the rescue truck and get our inhalator to work. I can manage by myself. You've got other things on your mind.
At that point, Tim lost all track of time. His only thought was to get the rubber mask of the inhalator off his friend's nose and mouth, to keep Andy breathing until he recovered consciousness and could do it for himself. And some time later...
All right, steady, fella. Steady. Yeah, lie quiet. You're coming around now. That's it. Just a few more and I'll take the mask off. No. This time you can't talk back to me, Andy, so you might as well stop trying. Attaboy. Okay, you feeling better? Okay, off she comes. Now, a few deep breaths. Attaboy.
What are you trying to do? Choke me to death?
You know, Andy, an inhalator looks good on you. Maybe you ought to be overcome by smoke more often.
Seriously, Tim. I remember getting to the head of the stairs and then blanking out. Did you get me down?
Oh, nothing to it, pal. That's the way the rescue company earns its pay.
Maybe I ought to see you get a bonus. Thanks, Tim. I'll do the same for you someday. Let me sit up.
Hey, brother, isn't there anything that can keep you down?
Only orders from the high brass on it. Oh, speaking of that, look who's coming.
Well, how's your patient, Tim?
You had a pretty narrow escape, Parker.
He's raring to go already, Lieutenant. And I don't think the rescue company has any monopoly on courage, Chief Cody, after seeing this engine company in action.
I'm mighty proud of the lot of you today, sir.
Hey, I just noticed, Lieutenant. Looks like everything's under control. I don't get another crack at it?
Where have you two been? You think we're getting ready to secure?
Oh, well, now I sit up and take notice myself. Yeah, it does look as though we're over. No more smoke from either the second story or the main entrance.
That's because there isn't any more fire in those bales of rags, Tim. But the floor and the walls toward the back are still ablaze.
Say, that means the building next door is in danger.
That's right. We've still got a fire on our hands.
But all those men fighting it from below on the first floor, they're outside now.
Yes, I ordered them out, Andy. You'll see the rescue squad starting down the ladders from the second floor any minute.
For Pete's sake, who's going to relieve them?
You and me, Tim. I hate to ask you, but the others have taken quite a beating. You're still fresh.
Oh, sure, sir, but why should you... Well,
this is a job I wouldn't ask anybody else to do.
Well, the job's almost done, isn't it, sir? If you've got those bales out, that means tons of water have already soaked that room down.
That's the danger. Remember what we were talking about?
Well, yes, sir, but Nothing happened, Chief. How can you say using water on that fire was dangerous, sir?
By now, those bales of rags have soaked up 3 times their normal weight in water.
Chief Cody checked with the building inspector, Collins. That's a terrific load for that floor to bear.
Well, the room was piled high with bales of rag. Now they're 3 times their normal weight. Oh, I get it. Using water has made it possible that floor might collapse under the weight.
That was the chance we had to take from the beginning. No one could say how the fire has weakened the floor structure. That's the chance we have to take. You understand?
Yes, sir. Now I do. We've got to go right on pouring in water and all the time increasing the weight of those bales of rag.
Yeah, kind of ironic, isn't it? That water, not fire, may endanger our lives.
Yes, sir.
That's the chance somebody has to take now. What do you say, Tim?
Well, I say you and I'll take it, Chief Cody. We'll take it in our stride, too, whenever you say the word.
So that's the danger presented by the fire from the beginning. Bales of rags soaking up 3 times their normal weight till the fire-weakened floor fairly groans under them. There's plenty of danger ahead for Tim and the Chief, so be sure to join them for our next exciting episode of The Firefighters. In a moment, Chief Cody will tell you, boys and girls, how you can help the firefighters in your own town. But first, another important message for all of you. And now, Chief Bob Cody with a word for the Firefighters Brigade. Chief Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. Here's a very simple suggestion for avoiding one source of fire in the home. Probably most of you have a portable heater of some kind for extra cold weather, or rooms that are extra hard to heat. Now, that's fine as long as you treat them with respect. And remember, they can be a source of danger, too. Anytime you set up a portable heater of any kind, make sure it's in a spot where it won't be knocked over, and that the cord to it is arranged in such a way that no one will trip over it. That's the simplest of all assignments. And yet it's the simple things that often make the difference between safety and a possible fire. So play safe. Until next time, this is Chief Cody saying, so long.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's roll!
Let's go! Firefighters!
Lights out, everybody. It is later than you think.
This is Arch Oboler bringing you another in our series of stories of the unusual. Our scene, a doctor's office. The doctor, a genial middle-aged man, is smiling across his desk at young Mrs. Peggy Connon. And he's saying,
Well, Mrs. Connon, I don't think there is much more I can say other than this. Don't be too afraid. This sort of thing has been going on since the beginning of time. Millions of women. So don't be frightened. Go home. Tell your husband. Be happy.
Thank you, Doctor. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Get a cab, miss?
No, thank you. I'll walk.
Okay, miss.
Walk. Yes, I'll walk. It takes longer when you walk. No longer to get home. Home. What will he say? What will he say? What will Bill say? What?
Oh, it's out of the question, Peg. Out of the question on the money I make.
Now, look, this isn't confetti. It's bills for groceries, bills for laundry, bills for gas. I tell you, Peg, it's out of the question.
Out of the question, out of the question. He'll say out of the question.
Baby.
What will he say? Oh, Bill, what will you say?
Hey, watch the lights, lady.
Oh.
Yeah. Watch where you're going, little lady. Them lights are for you as well as for the car.
What will Bill say?
What? What did you say? Say, you don't feel well or something. Your face, I mean.
Oh, I'm all right, officer.
Sure you don't want a cab?
No, I'm walking home.
Okay. But watch the traffic at the crossings.
If I take shorter steps, it'll take longer. Yes, shorter steps.
Do you realize it'll set us back for the next 5 years? We won't be living. We'll always be paying bills for doctors, for hospitals, for nurses, for this and for that.
Will he say that?
It's been going on since the beginning of time. Millions of women. So don't be afraid. Go home. Tell your husband. Be happy. Be happy. Happy.
Happy. Doctor said that, didn't he? Happy. Bill, we have been happy.
Rowing. I don't think I'm going to row anymore. Too hot.
Uh-huh.
Just drift. Now, what was I talking about?
Happiness.
Oh, yeah, happiness. I think that the most important thing in life is to be happy. Don't you?
Oh, yes, Bill.
Now, you take ordinary people. On a day like this, what are they doing? Working in factories, working in offices, working. Isn't that right?
Yes.
But the park is here, the lagoon is here, the boats are here. Man, if they just had a little common sense, they'd say, the devil would work, we're going to be happy. And they'd come out here and they'd go boat riding.
4 million people. The lagoon would be awfully crowded, wouldn't it, Bill?
No, I'm serious. All right, so I'm not working today, so I'll have $5 less. But I'm doing what I want, and I'm happy.
I'm happy, too, Bill.
Are you? Honest, Peg?
Uh-huh.
Oh, gee. When I think that only 2 days...
And I wasn't even going to the dance.
I took one look at
Oh,
you.
that's a song, Bill.
Oh, it's the truth. Oh, gosh, I'm happy about you, Peg. I'm happier than I've ever been in my whole life.
Happy. We have been happy.
Make perfect. Let's try that kiss again. Da-da-da-dee-dee-dee. We're not...
Oh, Bill. We're good.
You mean we're loud? I mean loud.
Don't drive so fast.
I'm in a hurry.
Why, Mr. Bone?
I'm on my way to get married. I'm on my way to get married.
Oh, Bill. They'll think you've been drinking.
I have. 4 Cokes, a double malt, 2 kisses, and a marriage license. Yee-hee!
Bill, behave yourself.
Oh, no. The bride and the bridegroom's been a happy night in jail. Hey.
Huh?
It's starting to rain. Shall I put the top up?
Oh, no, please.
Huh?
Want the rain in the face. Oh, it's wonderful, Bill. The wind and the rain. I feel as if I were flying.
Oh, this is Angel.
You know, all my life I thought that if I ran away to get married, I'd be so frightened. But I'm not afraid the least little bit. I love you, Bill. And everything's wonderful, and I'm so happy. So happy. We've been so happy.
Should I take?
Well, I don't know, Bill.
Well, speak up, Mrs. Connor, or forever have to hold your peace.
That's 30 cents already.
Oh, I was only warming up. One more time, and I know I can hit it.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, mister, I'll try her again.
That's here you are, son. Once for a dime. Knock down the top bottle and win the little lady a great big, beautiful doll.
Okay, Pig.
Here I go.
Oh, you hit it, Bill, you hit it.
I told you I would. Okay, mister, pay off.
What'll it be, little lady? A Kewpie or a Popeye?
Popeye.
Here you are.
Thank you.
You can do the same, ladies and gentlemen, with a great big, beautiful doll.
Bill, isn't it cute?
Yeah. Hey, let's sit down over here.
All right.
Oh,
Darling, you're wonderful.
wonderful. And hungry.
Oh, Bill, after 4 hot dogs, 3 sodas, and all those peanuts, you ought to be sick.
I am, but I'm hungry.
Bill.
Bottomless Bill from the Ozarks, that's me.
Bill, you're so crazy, and I love you so much.
You talk like that, and I'll kiss you right in the middle of the midway.
Double dare you.
Hey, maybe there's a law against kissing your own bride.
Maybe there's a law against being so happy.
You got the prettiest little funny face.
You know, I used to think that when I got married, I'd be going to the French Riviera, Honolulu, and, well, you know, places like that, and here I am, Luna Park.
Oh, Peg.
No, darling, you don't understand. I like it. I'm happy about it. Why, I'll bet there are thousands of women who've been to all those famous places who'd give every minute of it to be in my place with someone she loves and who loves her. Women are really awfully simple people, darling. They want love. And I've you, and I'm happy. Terribly happy.
Go home. Tell your husband, be happy, be happy, be happy.
I could be happy.
Mother.
Peggy Connon.
Mother.
Mother. My mother. Mother.
You mark my words, he'll never make a good living for you, never. No drive, no ambition, a worthless young man. Never make a good living for you, Peggy. You'll never have anything. You mark my words. Just mark my words. For the last time, listen to me, daughter. Now, if you marry that boy, you'll cry a great deal more, believe me. Oh, stop crying, Peggy, and listen to me. Someday you'll be a mother, and you'll understand that I'm telling you these things for your own sake. When you have children of your own, you'll understand.
Understand what, Mother? Understand what? Should I understand now? If you were alive, could you make me understand now? Well, Bill's all right. He's all right, I tell you. It's just that he used to laugh. Laughed all the time. But how can he laugh now?
Rent, gas, dentist, light, car fare. Rent, gas, dentist, light, car fare. Bill.
That's what I don't understand, Mother. Doesn't the world want people like Bill who can laugh? Must everyone be wonderful at making money? Isn't there a place for people like Bill who don't want a great deal? Can't things be so that they can make the little they need without growing so old and tired they forget what it is to laugh? And be happy at just being alive.
Fine mess. We're in a fine mess. Where will we get the money? Where will we get the money, Peggy? Where will we get the
No.
money?
Gotta stop thinking things like that. Got to. Think about him.
Shine, lady. Shine, mister. Shine.
What will he be?
Tomorrow creeps in his petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, brief candle light, but a walking shadow, a poor...
Oh, no! No.
And so, my fellow citizens, standing here in profound humility, where so many of our truly great have stood, all there is left to say is this. In accepting this high office, and in assuming the leadership of our great nation in these troubled times, I pledge myself...
No.
In that moment, he realized he no longer loved semicolon. In that moment, the past with her, comma, last tear, hyphen, drenched moment, comma.
Maybe.
And so, it is with a great deal of pride that this network brings to you the premiere radio performance of the world's premier violinist, David Connon.
Maybe.
And my diagnosis of the patient only confirms my profound belief that such diseases can be cured.
Maybe.
So, an investment of these issues with my concern will net you profit of not less than the sum of twice your investment.
Oh, no. Oh,
Silly Peggy.
You used to say that, didn't you, Mother? Silly Peggy. Because I laughed at the wrong time. Maybe I laughed then. Maybe I'm laughing now because I'm afraid.
happened to women for millions of years.
No, not that. Pain goes quickly, I know it, but... Bill. What'll Bill say? No, stop thinking. Stop thinking. Walk slowly. Very slowly. What was I thinking? Oh, yes, my boy. I'll be so much wiser by the time he grows up. Give him advice.
Yes, Mother. Of course, Mother. Yes, I'm listening. You're wonderful, Mother. Oh, you're right, Mother. Just as you say, Mother.
No, not like that.
You're wrong, Mother. I will not, Mother. I won't do it, Mother. No, Mother.
No, not that way.
Why, Mother? Explain, Mother. Tell me if you know, Mother. Why is it like that, Mother?
Yes. Look like. What will he look like?
Lovely child.
May I hold him? Looks like you.
His father's hair. Beautiful child. Beautiful child.
Beautiful child. Yes, why not? Why not? David Conan. Beautiful child.
Hey, Bob, read all about it. War crisis, war in Europe. Read all about it. War.
Baby.
Bill, what if he says it?
Read the newspapers, I tell you. Read the newspapers. There's your answer. Raise them up so they can blow them up. The answer's in your newspapers, I tell you, Peg. Raise them up to blow them up.
What can I answer him? I'm not good at answers. If Bill says that, what'll I say?
So I said to him, I said, Joe, I will not go for a ride. And he said, why not? And I said, why should I? And he said, well, if you don't, when will you? So I give him a smile, you know. And he said, you look here, Helen Young, if you think I'm
Girl. Maybe it'll be a girl. Yes, why not? Girl.
Mother.
A lovely girl.
Mother, you think my dress hangs right? Isn't it too long? Or is it too short? Don't you think I would have it made a little freer here?
No wars. Killing, dying, just...
Mother, do you think I ought to go out with him after what he said to me? Mother, I don't think that's a good school. Really, I don't.
Cannon fodder, bomb fodder.
You
Raise them strong and blow them up. What's the good of it, Peg? What's the good of it?
No, can't be like that. Not with a girl. Ruth. No.
Anna.
No.
Nina.
No.
Elizabeth.
No.
Carol.
Yes. Carol Conan.
Carol Conan, the season's prettiest lady dance. Carol Conan, beautiful young. Carol Conan is nationally known.
What could she be?
Mother, do you know all about babies? You know? After all, look at me. Well, I was wondering about Junior. He won't eat his cereal. He won't touch his bottle. I don't know what to do. I simply don't know what to do.
Maybe.
Carol Conan, opera, tonight. Curtain, 8:30.
Yes.
My daughter.
Oh, you'd be so proud of her, Bill. You would. Almost there. Walk slower. Oh, Bill, don't get angry when I tell you. God, don't let it be angry. I couldn't stand it if he yelled at me. I couldn't. I'm afraid. Bill, if you knew I was afraid, you'd help me, wouldn't you? Afraid of you. That's not right, is it? Walk slower. Walk slower. If, when I get there, Bill, and you look at me, if then, for the first time in my life, I can say everything I've been thinking before you have a chance to say anything, Then you'll understand how I feel, and because you love me, you won't say anything that'll hurt me, and you'll take me in your arms. Oh, Bill, but I can only think things. I can never say them clearly when they should be said. Maybe everybody's like I am, talk when it's too late. But this time I've got to talk now, right away, the minute I get in the house, because if you talk first and say things that hurt me, you and I will never... Oh, Bill, all I want is to be happy, just a little. Everything's so mixed up all over the world that... Bill, all I know, all I want is...
You say something, Mrs. Collins?
Oh, Mr. Tomasi.
What's the matter? You walk right up past the house, huh? Yeah, maybe you're thinking you don't live here no more, huh?
I was so preoccupied, I didn't notice.
Sure was a hot day, huh, Mr. Collins?
Yes, it was. I don't like to go in.
Oh, but your husband, he's at home, huh?
Home?
Sure, he come about 10 minutes ago. I'm going to see him go upstairs.
It is late, isn't it?
Sure. You put it in the girl, but when a husband come home from work and a wife are not home, sometimes you get a plenty man, huh? I bet you're scared, huh?
I'd better go up.
Hey, I'm going to come up pretty soon and fix that water faucet.
All right.
Yeah, who's going to stop?
You think I'm afraid of you? Go on and hit me. Hit me.
Will you shut up?
I'll talk all I want to talk.
Oh, yeah?
What else have I got to do with this stuff but talk? I'm sick of this down here. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Good evening, Mrs. Collins.
Good evening, Mr. Gold. You're playing very well tonight.
Yeah. In 60 years, even a fool learns to do something.
Oh.
To go to sleep. Just a little bit. Oh, good evening, Miss Conlon. Hot tonight, yeah?
Yes. The baby all right?
Oh, yeah, lots better. See?
It's so tiny, isn't it?
You like a baby, yeah, Miss Conlon?
Well,
Yeah, I know. They look like lots of trouble, but you bet you for people what got little babies, the whole world.
Yes.
Believe me, baby's good. Good night.
Good night, Mrs. Maslow.
Peggy, is that... Peg.
Bill.
Gosh, Peg, where you been? I've been word stiff.
Was it just walking?
I got home. There was nobody here. I was ready to do a calling all cars, so help me. What, you going to stand here by the door all night? What's the matter, Peg? Oh, honest, I don't care if there isn't any dinner. See, I'm so full of love for you tonight, one potato in me, and I'd pop like a kid's balloon.
Bill, I want to
No, wait, I'm going to tell you.
Me?
Yeah, come on over by the window. Phew, it's hot. That's better. Nice breeze to keep you cool while I burn you up with the news right off the press.
News. Bill,
Flash. Ambition comes to Billy Connon.
Bill, if you'd let me tell you...
How can you tell me when I'm trying to tell you? Now listen, sweet funny face. Today, the great lords of industry unlocked the octopus long enough to hand Billy Connon, now hold your breath, $5 more a week.
Bill, I've got...
Yes, so help me, $5. Oh, is that terrific, Peg? We move right into the upper brackets. Got everything we want.
Bill, please listen to me.
Sure, as soon as I finish my say. No, I got to say it, Peg, because I've been kind of getting up steam to say it all the way home from the office. Now, all this may sound a little screwy to you, but here goes.
Bill, I want to tell you today...
Oh, please, funny face, don't interrupt to tell me about the bargain you saw today, because, well, if I stop talking, I'll lose my nerve, and then Maybe I won't ever say it again. Peg, this $5 a week. Now, that's over $250 a year. And I began thinking right away how we could spend it.
Ben.
Yeah, you know me. So I got thinking about maybe we'd get another car. But the old jalopi's pretty good yet. And then I thought maybe we could take a cottage someplace. But then I don't get a vacation until next year. So, then I got thinking. Oh, heck, what's the matter with me? Why should I be afraid to talk to you?
There's no reason to be afraid. Is there, Bill?
Oh, of course not. See, what I'm trying to say is that... Well, look at the newspaper headline.
The war, yes, I saw
We're all
it.
going to smash, maybe. So I got thinking the heck with it. There isn't time enough to go anywhere or plan anything, and who wants money anyway? So, how can we spend it to make both of us really happy? You know, to make our lives... if one of us should die before the other, make our lives mean something.
Mean something.
Oh, Peg, I gotta say it faster. I won't be able to say it at all. Peg, let's spend the money for a kid. Oh, Peg, what do you look at me like that for? Oh, I know we never talked about it, but... Well, I was kind of scared of the idea, and I didn't know if you'd want one. Well, Peg, for Pete's sake, say something. Looking at me. Well, what did you want to tell me before? Say that at least.
Oh, Bill. Bill. Wait till you hear.
I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
And now the Whisperer's strange story. The Calculator.
Quiet and the fog was moving in. Gray, misty patches swirling about the streetlights of the commercial district, just off San Francisco's waterfront. The tower clock atop the ferry building pointed at 20 minutes of 11 as Glenn Tillman stepped out of the offices of the Morrison Chemical Company, turned up his coat collar to shut out the chill of the night. Outwardly, you appear calm, don't you, Glenn? And your steps slow and even as you stroll down the deserted street into an all-night diner at the corner of the block. Hello, Glenn. Still burning the midnight oil, huh?
Yeah, had to knock off for a cup of coffee. Make it black, Jeff.
Sure. Think there's partner with you tonight?
Mac? No, he's at the plant.
Look, how do you guys work like this night after night? Better show up, boy. You live longer. Do like me. I put in my what was that? Sounded like an explosion. Well, down the block somewhere. Come on, let's have a look. Hey, look up there. Fire. It's our plan. Come on, you guys. You rush down the street, the others close behind. Your heart is beating wildly, isn't it, Grace? Yes, your building is on fire. Your partner, Max Linder, is in there somewhere. Somewhere in that nightmare of flame and smoke. And then as you reach the scene, another explosion rocks the building.
Hey, better stand back, you guys. Get out of the way, Jeff.
Easy, fella. Where you going?
Max is in there. I gotta get to him.
No, you don't, Glenn.
Let me go. There's still a chance. Rope dance and all. Let me go.
Don't be a fool. You can't go in there.
Jeff, please. Let's go. Hey, you guys, give me a hand here. Let me go in there.
Take it easy. Take it easy, Glenn. There isn't anything you can do.
The Max is in there, I said.
Sure. We know how you feel, but we can't let you go in. It'll be full of power. Sticking around here.
All right, Jeff, all right. Oh, wait a minute. There's the fire captain over there. Let me check with him. Come on. Captain? Captain?
Yes?
Captain, my partner.
Who are you?
My name's Tillman. My partner, Max.
So you're Mr. Tillman. Well, you'll be glad to know some of my boys found your partner in the back alley. He managed to get out of the building somehow.
What? You mean he's alive?
Yeah, that's right. Ambulance took him to emergency a few minutes ago. He'll be okay.
Somehow you manage to control the sudden wave of panic that sweeps over you, don't you, Glenn? You move out of the crowd quickly. Tell Jeff you're going on to the hospital. Instead, you drive to your apartment. There you take a small packet of blueprints out of your pocket. Stare at it for a moment. And then hide it behind the painting hanging over the mantel. Your hand is shaking badly, isn't it, Glenn, as you pour yourself a drink and slump down into a chair. An hour later, you're still sitting there, staring down at the now empty glass. Huh?
Who is it?
Hello, Glenn.
Come in, Joanna.
I was listening to the radio. Heard about your explosion. I was worried about you.
Me or the blueprint?
Well, naturally, I was concerned about them, too. After all, the people I represent have offered $50,000 for your invention.
Okay, that's safe. Don't worry about it.
The news report said that your friend Linda had been injured.
Not badly, so I understand.
You were not at the factory when the explosion occurred.
No, I left the building a few minutes before.
How fortunate.
You find something amusing?
Not exactly amusing. I didn't know anything about the explosion if it really was an accident.
What are you driving at?
A thought occurred to me. Here you have two young inventors who suddenly make a rather startling discovery. A tiny little gadget worth a lot of money. And invaluable to any country with an air force.
So?
So they decide to sell it to the highest bidder. My organization in Antwerp offered $50,000 to the two inventors. Then, one of them was almost killed in an explosion.
Get to the point.
If he had been killed, that would mean the other inventor, you, would collect all the money.
Look, are you insinuating that...
Oh, that's it. Yes. Whether the explosion was an accident or not doesn't concern me too much. As I told you, I'm interested in the blueprints of your invention. But when I said I was worried about you, I meant it. Every word of it.
Thanks.
You see, most of my discussions have been with you, and, well, frankly, I became quite fond of you.
You really mean that, Joanna?
Why else would I say it? So be careful, darling. I wouldn't want anything to happen to you.
What could happen to me?
Something rather violent, I'm afraid. If your partner Max should suspect that explosion wasn't an accident.
Long after Johanna's gone, you pace the apartment, wondering just how sincere she was when she told you she was fond of you. She's a beautiful woman, isn't she, Glenn? Charming, intelligent, too. And you're sure the two of you could accomplish big things. But she's clever, too. And the agent of a foreign organization. And you decide to reserve final judgment until you're certain of her motive. Meantime, there's Max to worry about. You wonder if he suspects that you tried to kill him. You'll have to face him sooner or later, won't you, Glenn? And you realize that you've got to call at the hospital tonight. It'll look strange if you don't. It's going to be a terrifying ordeal. And your nerves are almost at the breaking point when you arrive at the hospital. You're surprised to see your partner sitting up in bed. You're relieved a little as you note the faint trace of a smile on his lips. Hi, Glenn.
Maxie, how do you feel? How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Just shaken up. Bruises here and there. I'm okay, the doc says.
Well, I'm sure glad to hear that. Sure had a close call. What in the world happened, anyway?
I don't know. Experimental one of the plant just blew apart at the seams. Just like that.
How'd you manage to get out?
A few minutes after you left, I heard the phone ringing in one of the offices down the hall. I left my work table to answer it, and that's when it happened. Blast knocked me down the stairs. I was to crawl in the alley.
Lucky thing that phone rang when it did, huh?
Yeah. Wasn't it lucky for me, Glenn?
Yeah. I guess that part of the plant's a total wreck.
So I understand. My father was here a few minutes ago interviewing me. Said it was completely demolished. Fireman did a good job, though. So did the rest of the building. Glad to hear that, huh, Glenn?
Oh, sure. You mean the officers?
Especially our office. And the little package of blueprints that they were in my bottom drawer.
Yeah. Look, fella, you probably want to get some sleep.
No. Stick around, Glenn. Doc said he'd be back in a bit and check me over. Probably let me go home.
Tonight?
Yeah. I thought maybe you'd drive me back to my apartment.
Well, sure, but
you don't mind, do you?
No, I don't mind.
It's something you hadn't expected, Glenn, that Max would be released from the hospital so soon. It means you'll have to move fast. Return the blueprints to his desk first thing in the morning. It wouldn't do if Max discovered they were missing with it. He'd no longer only suspect that you tried to kill him. He'd know for sure. I'm so glad to get out of that hospital. This is a relief.
Well, you've had a rough night, Max, but it's all over now. Good night's rest.
Turn right. Next corner, huh?
Turn right?
Yeah. I want to drop by the office first.
What? You mean now?
Now.
But why?
The blueprints. Bill says we pick them up tonight before something else happens. You never can tell when there's been a fire.
Oh, now, Lord, Max, nothing's going to happen.
Not, said so.
Well, forget it.
Now, Glenn, I want to pick up those blueprints tonight. Come on, turn right at the next corner. Terrible shock, doesn't it, Glenn? Your partner Max's miraculous escape from your attempt to kill him, and your sudden decision to drive back to the office to pick up the blueprint of the electro-gyro that you developed together, which will outmode present-day guided missiles. Blueprints that are now hidden away in your apartment. En route, you try to persuade him to wait till morning, but it's no use. He's determined to get them. And you wonder what he'll do when he discovers they're missing. The fog rolls in from the bay. Your mind is working frantically, searching for a way to prevent him from making that mistake. And then almost before you realize it, you find yourself pulling up in front of the building. Well, I sure made a mess out of the building, Glenn.
Yeah. Look, Max, it might be dangerous going in there now.
Oh, relax.
Just a minute there.
Huh? Oh, good evening, officer.
Evening.
I'm thinking of going inside, will you? Why, yes. Sorry. Oh, it's all right, officer. We work for the Morrison Company. My name's Linda, and this is Glenn Tillman.
Sorry, gentlemen, no one is allowed in the building until it's been thoroughly inspected.
But we only want to check the offices. It'll only take a minute.
Are you arguing about it, Mr. Linda? Yeah, come on, Max. The officer's only following his orders. We can look over the files in the morning after the building has been inspected.
Well, all right.
Sorry, gentlemen, but you know how it is. But, of course, officer. We understand. Come on, Max.
close, wasn't it, Glenn? Much too close. But you're safe, at least for the time being. 10 minutes later, you drop Max off at his apartment, and then drive on towards your own. But before you get there, you decide you can't take any more chances. You can't wait till morning. Somehow you've got to get inside that building tonight. Replace the blueprints of the valuable invention in Max's desk. You park in front of your apartment, hurry upstairs, pick up the blueprints, and return to your car. You turn around and drive back toward the plant. It's terribly risky, isn't it, Frank? But a risk you must take. When you reach the plant... You there, Frank. What are you doing back here?
Nothing, officer. I just came down to look over the building. I'm employed here.
Well, let's have a look at you.
Really, officer?
You're not the one.
Huh? What do you mean?
Someone was toddling around inside this building about 10 minutes ago.
What?
Oh, almost caught him as he was coming out. They slipped past me. Drove off in a yellow convertible.
A yellow convertible?
You know who it might have been?
No. No, I don't.
But you do know, don't you, Glenn? Yes. Max drives the yellow convertible. You're certain it was he. And you're certain, too, now, that Max knows the blueprints are gone, that you have them, and that you tried to kill him. You know, too, that you must move quickly. Get out of town before he has a chance to move against you. You decide to go directly to Johanna Drexler, attempt to close the deal for the blueprints tonight. At Johanna's apartment building, you approach cautiously, and then stop dead in your tracks. Someone is standing in a doorway across the street. It's Max. Stunned, you drive back to your apartment. Pick up the blueprints. You don't want to see Max, and you don't want him to find you. So you decide to go into hiding until your deal with Joanna is finished. You pack a suitcase, and then drive downtown to a hotel.
I'd like a room. Anything you have available.
Oh, of course. If you'll register here, please.
All right.
Now, let me see. I have a nice room in the rear of the building. Fifth floor.
That'll be fine.
You are, sir? Room 511. I'll have the boy take your things up immediately, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you.
Are you going to be with us long, Mr. Bennett?
Maybe, maybe not. Depends on how soon I can close the deal.
Yes, Glenn. It's going to be difficult completing the transaction with Joanna, with Max watching her so closely. You want to get the money, all of it, as quickly as possible, and then leave town. But Max stands in your way. You spend the rest of the night thinking about it. What you must do. The following morning, you put in a call to Joanna.
What a ghastly hour to call in. It isn't 8 o'clock.
Joanna, when can we close this deal?
Oh, as soon as I get to the bank and draw a draft.
I want it all, Joanna, for $50,000 in cash.
All of it? But Glenn, darling, that wasn't in the agreement.
I know.
Half when you turn over the blueprints, the other half after my company has had time to study them.
Sorry, darling. We do it my way or else.
Or else what?
Or else I close the deal with one of your competitors.
Really?
Yes. You know, yours isn't the only firm interested in our invention, sweetheart. I have an offer of $50,000 cash right now for it. I'm only giving your company the opportunity to match that offer.
It won't work, darling. You're fibbing, aren't you, about this competitor?
Am I?
Of course you are. I'm sorry, Glenn. My company would never do it.
So I'm kidding, huh? Look, it might interest you to know I'm calling from your competitor's place right now.
Really?
Yes. Why don't you call the Hotel Radford? Ask for Mr. Benner's room. Get yourself a little surprise. Well?
All right, then. I believe you. Give me time to put through a call to Antwerp, will you?
Sure, fair enough.
I should have an answer for you soon. Why don't we have dinner together, say at the Blue Rock Inn?
No, I don't think it. The Blue Rock Inn? Up the coast, you mean?
Something wrong with it?
Why, no, sweetheart. Nothing at all. All right, I'll meet you there. 8 o'clock.
Right.
It occurred to you suddenly, didn't it, Frank? You're almost certain Max is watching Johanna Drexler in the hope of finding the two of you together and forcing a showdown. You're certain he'll follow her wherever she goes. And the Blue Rock Inn, several miles up the lonely coast road, will provide an excellent setting for getting Max out of the way permanently. And things have reached a point where you must be rid of Max. Because you decided that as long as he's alive, you know you'll never have a moment's peace. Early that evening, you drive to the Blue Rock Inn, wait in the shadows of the parking area. Keep your motor running so you can get away quickly. A few minutes before 8, Johanna drives up, walks past without seeing you and enters the inn. Moments later, another car drives in, a yellow convertible, Max. You draw the .38 from your pocket. Then, as he comes up the path,
Hello, Johanna.
Claire. I'd asked it would be you when I heard my name raised. Look, I've been waiting here at the Blue Rock Inn for half an hour.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was delayed in town. Listen, Johanna, there's no point in my driving way out there now. Why don't we meet somewhere else? How about the Hill House?
Well, all right. Only, Jim,
Yes?
I'm worried. There's something wrong.
Wrong?
Glenn, I'm being followed. I'm sure of it.
Oh, don't worry about it, Johanna. We'll be together soon.
All right. Glenn, you'll be pleased to know that my company has agreed to your terms. $50,000 when you give me the blueprint.
That's fine, sweetheart. That's fine.
You smile as you hang up the phone, don't you, Glenn? Smile at Johanna's fears about being followed. You're certain it was Max who was following her. Then you begin to wonder. Perhaps someone else is on Johanna's trail. You decide to keep the gun handy just in case. You drive to the Hill House. Wait for Johanna in the cocktail bar.
Johanna, over here.
Hi, I'm late, darling.
Oh, sit down. What took you so long?
Oh, you must be pregnant, darling. The man was murdered near the Blue Rock Inn tonight.
Really?
Your partner, Max Linder. It was you, wasn't it, Glenn?
Me?
I know this fellow was thinking you planned it that way.
Johanna, how can you say
All
that?
right, forget it. I don't think Max was the only one following me.
Huh?
Oh, we must be careful, darling. I'll give you the money in the morning when the bank opens. And then I must fly back to New York.
So soon?
Well, I'll feel better about it once the blueprints are turned over to a representative of my organization.
Not coming back to San Francisco?
Should I?
No. I've had a yen to see New York for some time. Look, why don't we fly back together?
Oh, I was hoping you'd say that, Glenn. I feel better, too. Safer. You have a gun.
Right. We'll be safe, Johanna. Well, let's have a drink on it.
Oh, I could use one, Glenn.
To a safe journey together. And a happy landing.
It's over, isn't it, Glenn? And you feel certain that you're in the clear. Only the possibility that someone else might be following Johanna makes you decide to put the .38 that you used to kill Max Linder into your suitcase. Downstairs, you settle up the bill for the room you took as Mr. Benner, inquire of the clerk as to the time your plane is to take off, and then pick up Johanna in a taxi. At the airport, you turn in your luggage, wander into the cocktail lounge with Johanna on your arm.
Oh, darling, I've made such wonderful plans for us in New York. Nightclubs, theaters. We'll have a glorious 2 weeks.
Why only 2 weeks?
Well, I should go back to Europe, you know.
Oh, look, Joe, why not quit the company?
I'm scared of it. The mix is rather dangerous.
Dangerous? How so?
Our competition, darling. Sometimes we can become rather violent. Still must be very careful. Take your friend Mr. Benner, for example. He's quite dangerous.
Benner? Really?
Of course. If he was willing to pay $50,000 for these blueprints, like you said, well, he must have ordered them badly. Suppose he decided to sell them. So he could get the blueprints by force.
Not a chance of that, sweetheart.
I know. I took care of it.
What?
I arranged so that you and Mr. Benner would be delayed long enough so that we could get out of town.
Johanna, What did you do?
I put in a call to the police before we picked you up at my apartment. An anonymous call, naturally. I told them that Mr. Benner, room 511, Hotel Radford, was involved in the shooting of your partner, Max Lindy.
You did what?
A nice little joke to say of Mr. Benner, don't you think?
Joke? Johanna, you little fool. Don't you understand? I'm Benner. I set that up. I'm Mr. Benner.
Thanks, Benner. You're identifying yourself.
Huh?
Makes it easier for me. I'm Lieutenant Foster, homicide. The hotel clerk said to come to the airport and look for a man in a checkered overcoat and a light gray hat, but this way it's much easier.
There's been a mistake.
Sure, and you made it. Come on, Mr. Benner. You two, miss. There's a lot of things we'd like to ask you about.
Where are we going?
To police headquarters. But first to the baggage room to pick up your luggage. You see, I'm looking for the gun that was used to kill a man named Max Linda last night. A .38. You haven't got it on you. I've got a hunch we'll find it in one of your bags. Well, Mr. Benner, shall we go?
Strange story you have just heard. We'll be back next week with another tale from his never-ending file.
This is Orson Welles, speaking from London. The Black Museum. Here in the grim stone structure on the Thames, which houses Scotland Yard, is a warehouse of homicide, where everyday objects, a flower pot, a coffee cup, a curtain rod, all are touched by murder. Here's a shilling. This is a familiar object, a shilling. It's a coin of the realm. So much silver alloyed with harder metals for purposes of wear, milled-edged, engraved with the face of a British sovereign. Very familiar object indeed.
It's a lucky piece, all right, Inspector.
Lucky for you, Bob.
That's just what I mean, sir.
Shillings don't buy much these days. But this one bought plenty.
Now, The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles.
Well, here we are, in the Black Museum, Scotland Yard's Museum of Murder. Now, here's a small radio. Made for entertainment, for obtaining all the sounds that reach out through the ether to your ear, sing for joy, for pleasure, but note the little wires protruding here, connected to the switch that turned this little sound box on. The man turned that knob, as was his habit. The little extra wires conducted current to an explosive. The man died. Later, he was followed to death by his murderer. All right, here we are. Here's the shilling. Subject of our story. It's untarnished still, gleaming silver. Without a doubt, it passed through many hands, reposed in pockets and purses. And then one day, a telephone rings. So many things are heralded by that sound. This one rings in an office in the yard. Two men interrupt a desultory conversation. One of them picks up the instrument.
Inspector Graves' office. For you, Inspector.
Thank you, Sergeant. The inspector listens briefly, acknowledges the message, hangs up the telephone.
Well. Trouble, sir? Not yet. Just an interesting bit of information. Remember Joey Bart? Dartmoor, isn't he? Not after tonight. Oh, is it that long since we sent him away? Time off for good behavior. He gets out in the morning. Wonder if Brother Davy knows. The same idea crossed my mind. How do you suppose it feels, Sergeant? Then know your brother is getting out. When you've taken over his business, bar, band, and bottle club,
And your brother believes you framed him into Dartmoor.
There's a word for it, sir. Uncomfortable.
That, of course, is an understatement, particularly when it's well known both to the underworld of London and to the police that Brother Joey has sworn to get Brother Davy as soon as such action is possible. Now, obviously, no self-respecting police force appreciates murder. Follows, then, that certain precautions must be taken.
Sergeant, will you arrange for a 24-hour detail to stay with Brother Joey from the moment he leaves the hospitality of Dartmoor tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
And advise the station house, which covers Brother Davy's rather disreputable club, that Davy is expecting company.
Yes, sir.
I'd rather like to be there, you know, when Joey tells his brother he wants the club back, and his share of the earnings of these past 6 years.
Yes, it must have been quite a meeting. Took place, of course. No question about that. In fact, no attempt was made to prevent it. The police knew when it happened. They knew exactly when Joey Bart walked past the uniformed doorman into the nightclub in question. They so reported to Inspector Graves. It was some 45 minutes later that his telephone rang once more.
Inspector Graves' office.
Detective Smythe here. The inspector available?
Just a moment. Smythe, Inspector. He's on the Bart matter.
I'll take it. Yes, Smythe?
I'm in Davy Bart's office at the club, Inspector. He's dead.
Where's Joey?
Gone, sir. We saw him go in. We didn't see him get out.
No, a self-respecting police force does not appreciate murder. When the murder is committed while policemen are on watch outside the scene of the crime, it is appreciated even less, if possible. Therefore, action is required.
General alarm for Joey Bart. Description is available.
Yes, sir.
Close that club and hold the customers and staff until I get there. Let's go, Sergeant.
All the resources of a great police department spring to life. And soon the inspector and Sergeant Maxwell are at the scene, viewing the body of Davy Bart through the hole in its chest.
Yes, that's Bart, all right. All right, Smythe. Let's have it.
Well, that's just the way we found him, sir. Sprawled like that. Gun near him. Nothing's been touched except to check for fingerprints.
Pictures been taken?
Yes, sir.
Coroner been here?
Yes, sir.
All right, take him away. Sergeant.
Very good, sir.
Prints on the gun?
Only the dead man's. Just the one set. They're his.
Medical report?
Shot at close range. Powder burns. It's a .38 automatic.
I can see that. Anything else?
Well, there's a wall safe. It was searched.
What's this?
It's a shilling, sir.
What's it doing here?
It was lying there on the desk when we got in, sir. The lights were on, and it was shining in the lamp.
Quite clear, wasn't it? A killing. An ex-convict disappeared, open and shut, simple. Still, the evidence must be collected with a view toward the eventual trial.
You're George Lyons.
Yes, sir?
You have a record.
Well, I went away once. 3 months. Attempted robbery.
Since then?
I worked for Mr. Bart.
Doing what?
Oh, sort of his assistant.
Yes, I know what you mean. All right. What happened here tonight?
Well, Joey came here, and the boss told me to let him in. Joey told the boss he needed money. The boss said he didn't have any. They started to argue. That was when the boss told me to wait outside, and I did.
Hear anything?
Oh, the place is soundproof, Inspector. The nearest thing.
Why did you come back inside?
I took a chance. Seemed like an awful long time when Joey didn't come out. I found him. The boss, I mean.
What do you know about this?
Hey, that's the boss's lucky piece. When Joey asked for money, the boss took it out of his pocket and told him it was all the money he had on him. That's when Joey said, I ought to kill you for that. Only your life ain't worth a shilling.
Build a case. Interview the employees. First the doorman.
Well, I was kind of surprised, Inspector. But Mr. Bart said let Joey in the club when he showed up.
Why?
Well, everybody knows, sir. Joey thought Mr. Bart framed him to get the club away from him.
So you let him in?
So I let him in.
See him leave?
No, sir. He must have gone out the back way, through that door. It leads out to the kitchen and the dressing rooms. There's a rear exit, sir, out in the alley behind.
Now it's the turn of the kitchen help. The man in the best position to notice anything is the second cook.
Yes, sir. That's my position, opposite the door.
Did you see anyone go by tonight?
Only waiters. And the girl in the show.
The girl in the show?
Yes, she has a dressing room in the hall. She sings.
Her name?
Miss Fair. Mitzi Fair.
Get the girl, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
You at your station all evening?
The chef, he called me over to taste his dressing. Only once. all the rest of the time I...
Yes, and you must have missed anyone who went through the hall during that time.
Well, it was only a minute or two.
Yeah, it would be enough. All right, leave a name and address for the constable on duty.
The henchman, Lyons, saw and heard nothing. The doorman was too far away. The kitchen help were too busy. Still, everyone seemed to have known that Joey Bart was there that night. Everyone, including the girl in the show.
You sing in the floor show, Miss Fair, is that it?
Well, I am the show, you might say. Or was.
Yes, was. The club is closed. You'll need another job.
Thanks for the 2 weeks' notice.
We can do without that. What do you mean, I am the show?
Well, I sing with a piano. When the band rests. There's no line, no comics. This place is too small.
I see. What's your background, Miss Fair?
It was the usual shabby story, the early ambitions, the voice that failed to make the big time, the small jobs to make a living, and the eternal hope for the break. Then the steady work in the club.
Any particular reason why Dave Bart kept you here so long?
If you mean what I think you mean, there was nothing like that.
Did you know his brother?
Well, I didn't hear Davy talk about him. I came here after Davy took over.
Your dressing room is out there, off the hall.
If you can call the 6x8 rat trap a dressing room, yes.
Seeing a stranger tonight?
Not tonight.
Other nights?
Maybe. Maybe not. And if I had, I'd know better than to talk, Inspector. Davy operated within the law, as far as I know. But I've been around, Inspector. And if I knew anything, chances are my life wouldn't be worth that shilling.
You ever see it before?
Looks like any other to me.
I'm told it was Davy Bart's lucky piece.
Was it? Well, I wouldn't know. With me, a shilling's a shilling, and they don't come my way easy.
But today, the shilling can be found in the Black Museum.
In just a moment, we will continue with The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles.
Inspector Graves waited in his office at Scotland Yard for the report he knew was inevitable, that Joey Bart had been run to earth. This was routine. Meanwhile, he sifted facts with Sergeant Maxwell.
Nothing to it, Inspector. It's Joey. It couldn't be anyone else. Say that in court, and a smart lawyer will prove it could have been any one of a dozen people. Reasonable doubt, that's all. But Joey said he'd get his brother once he got out. That's not evidence, and you know it, Sergeant. There's plenty of evidence of the gun, for instance. Davy's gun, registered with only Davy's prints on it. The doorman saw him go in. Lyons was there at the beginning of the fight. The open safe. With nothing stolen. At least plenty of money in it, and Joey came for money. He left by the back way. Well, no one saw him. No one saw him go out. They could have missed someone else coming in. Our case is full of holes, Sergeant. It's not the kind I want to go into.
You see, it's one thing to be certain in your own mind that someone committed murder. It's another thing to prove it in court, where your facts are subject to attack by lawyers, subject to the workings of 12 minds in a jury box, subject to the judge's interpretation of reasonable doubt. The inspector knew this. The telephone again. Perhaps this time.
Graves speaking.
Smythe here, Inspector. We found Bart. He's holed up in a tenement in the East End, 409 Allison. One of those places cut up into one-room flatlets. He's in the third floor rear.
Set the cordon, Smythe. Seal the place. Don't go in until I get there.
The quarry run to earth, his hole sealed, front and rear, by the cordon of police. The inspector arrives.
All under control, Smythe?
Yes, sir. He won't get out the back way this time.
Good enough. Let's go in.
A small, tight group gathers around the inspector. Smith, Maxwell, several uniformed constables, all armed. They enter the ramshackle building, start up the rickety stairway. Somehow this place escaped the holocaust of Hitler's bomb. It's old, dirty, dangerous. The landings are illuminated by fitful light from flickering yellow electric bulbs and fixtures that once held gas burners. The third landing, the group stops. Splits up. Each man takes his station, one to each side of the doorway. The officer with a gun in position to shoot off the lock on the scaly door. The inspector with Sergeant Maxwell and Detective Smith facing the doorway.
Here it goes. Who is it? You know who it is, Bob. Police. Open up.
Come in, gentlemen. Come in.
Check in on us, Sergeant.
Yes, sir. Nothing on him, Inspector. No weapon.
Very well.
I could have told you that. No guns for me, Inspector. I'm glad you got here first, though. I thought maybe it was some of Davy's boys with the same idea you have. But I didn't kill him. Not much sense killing the goose with the golden eggs, is there, Inspector?
They took him to the yard. Held for questioning, the record said. The questioning was sharp and to the point.
What did you get from your brother?
£100 to start.
That was all?
Oh, he argued first, but I got good and sore. Told him his life wasn't worth the shilling he threw at me.
We know about that.
Yeah, Georgia Lyons was still there. After that, Dave threw him out. Then I told Dave I could prove he'd framed me. He acted like he believed me. Told me I'd be a fool to take the club back after the way he'd built it up. Said he'd cut me in for plenty. He went to the wall safe, took out £100 and gave it to me as a down payment, sort of. Of course I took it. I took his shilling, too. Told him he'd get his luck back when I figured he was going to be a regular on the payoff.
You took his shilling?
Yeah, here. That's it. He had it since he was a kid. See that nick in it? He got that putting it on a railroad truck so as the train could run over it.
Sergeant, bring Lyons and the fair girl down here.
Yes, sir.
You see anybody in that back hall, Bob?
Nobody. Dave said to go out that way, and I did. I wanted a little privacy, you see. Your boys were with me all the way to the club from Dartmoor.
Did you hear anything in that hall?
Only the pans in the kitchen. Now, look, Inspector, I didn't kill him. Why should I? He was paying off. Nobody kills a guy who pays.
Maybe. Maybe not. Outside, Bart, and wait there. I'll see you again later.
An accommodating ex-convict, to say the least, and willing to talk his head off. The inspector was puzzled. This was not part of the usual pattern. The puzzle seemed deeper when Mitzi Fair told him.
That Shilling? No, that's not Davies. Davies was the one on the desk. I watched him play with it lots of times.
You're certain of that?
I'm sure. Positive.
And the puzzle seemed deeper still when George Lyons said.
Yeah, I remember now. That nick in the shilling. Hey, Inspector, if Joey had this shilling with him, who put the other one on the desk?
Know something, Lyons? The answer to that question could be very interesting. Very interesting indeed.
A whole new avenue of inquiry suddenly opened up. Suddenly became possible that Joey Bart had not been the last person to see his brother alive.
It's a matter of who is telling the truth about those coins, Sergeant. If Lyons and Bart are, then the girl is lying. If the girl is honest, then Lyons and Bart are both lying.
How do we find out, Inspector?
We take our time. And we let Joey go, for the time being. With a continuous watch on him, of course. Arrange for it, will you, Sergeant? I want a little quiet. I've got some thinking to do.
The inspector had his peace and quiet briefly. Shortly thereafter, he adjourned to the Padlock nightclub with Sergeant Maxwell and Detective Smith.
I saw him to provide wall-to-wall carpeting. I hate tearing up floorboards.
Well, it helps the soundproofing. How are you coming along the wall, Smith?
Nothing hollow. Soundproof tiling under all the draperies.
Hello, here's something. Back of the couch, Inspector.
Bobby pin, blonde.
The singer's a blonde?
Too bad she's not the only blonde in London. If she were, we'd have to prove she dropped it after Joey left this office.
Nothing doing on the walls, Inspector. Next?
The desk. Take it apart if necessary.
Yes, sir.
Dave, Bart, look too honest, Sergeant. There's a reason for soundproof offices. And if there's any record of that reason, it'll be here, someplace.
Well, the girl said something about visitors, back door visitors.
I know she did.
Hello. Here's something. False bottom to this drawer. It measures 6 inches deep on the outside and only 4.5 on the inside.
Sliding panel?
Probably. Sounds hollow enough.
Ah, here it is. The button slides back when you press this nail head. A couple of letters here. The record book.
Good work, Smith. Well, Mr. Bart was methodical. Record of payments to the witnesses who swore his brother into prison. Income from various enterprises. Letters. Well.
Enough there on the girl to keep her working for free the rest of her life.
To say the least.
Then it's the girl, Inspector.
Or Jerry. Or both. Or neither.
Lyons?
There's a great deal on him, too. His 90-day sentence seems to have covered up a small item which could have meant 10 years. Apparently, several people were interested in the sudden death of Mr. Dave Bart. Shut the drawer, Smith. Leave everything as it was, except for the papers. We'll take those. And as we leave, Sergeant, suppose you forget to snap the lock on the front door. Understand, Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
It was neat and simple. The bait, of course, was the contents of the drawer. 3 people were interested in what it contained. Given an open padlock, the opportunity to search, the magnet, which was the letters and records in that desk, should draw at least one person back to the room where someone had killed Dave Bart and left a shilling on the desk. The inspector waited. With him, Sergeant Maxwell and Detective Smith, a dozen assorted detectives and constables. They waited in the silent, darkened nightclub behind the door with its open padlock. They waited in the dark hallway near the kitchen, among the piled-up tables and chairs in the main room. They waited in the echoing, empty club. Waited for the sounds they knew would come. Sounds which did come when the safety of night shrouded the street outside.
The door, Inspector.
I heard it, Sergeant.
Crouched in the darkness, they heard the footsteps. Light, tentative. Then bolder, more confident, as eyes became accustomed to the gloom. A moment later...
Another one, sir.
Quiet, Sergeant.
The first intruder was aware of the second. More quickly now, the footsteps came into the main room of the club, crossed the dance floor. Suddenly, the second person broke into a run, caught up to the first.
Thought you'd come back, eh? Tried to pin it on me, did you, with the second shilling? You listened outside the door, didn't you? Ducked when I came through.
All right, Smith. The light.
What's all this?
All right, Bart. Miss Fair, we'll take over now.
Smart coppers, eh? Sitting in the dark, waiting, eh?
Take him over, Sergeant. Take him over.
I told you once, Inspector, no guns for me. She's got one, though, in her bag. Tried to sock me with it.
Well, Miss Fair, why did you plant that second shilling?
I knew George was in there. When Joe made his crack about the shilling. I went in after George left. I wanted my letters. David made me miserable enough with them, and we argued. And he tried to threaten me with his gun. I grabbed for it, and it went off. I thought if there was a shilling, you'd think it was Joey.
Yeah, a woman. Every time it's a woman.
Never mind, Bart. You can tell that to your friend. Miss Fair, you're taken in charge. And the charge is murder.
And today, the shilling, which was the main clue in this case, can be seen in an honored position in the Black Museum.
Orson Welles will be back with you in just a moment. now hear in person is Orson Welles.
There was no premeditation, that was clear. And certainly there was provocation. Mitzi Fair went away, convicted of manslaughter. Joey Bart eventually reopened the club, which had been his property in the first place. Seems to be going straight. Only time, and the careful eye of the Metropolitan Police, will know about that. Meanwhile, the Shilling, contributed by Joey Bart, remains in its customary place in Scotland Yard, in the Black Museum. Until next time, if we meet in the same place for another story about the Black Museum, I remain, as always, obediently yours.
The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles, is presented by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Radio Attraction. The program is written by Ara Marion, with original music composed and conducted by Sidney Torch. Produced by Harry Allen Towers.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents The Mysterious Traveler. Written, produced, and directed by Robert A. Arthur and David Kogan, starring tonight two of radio's foremost personalities, Carl Weber and Inga Adams, in an original radio drama titled Queen of the Cats.
This is the Mysterious Traveler, inviting you to join me on another journey into the realm of the strange and the terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, that it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves, and be comfortable, if you can, as we prepare to meet the Queen of the Cats. Our story begins late one night in a large New England town. Jane Elliott, an attractive girl in her early 20s, hurries down a quiet and darkened residential street. Finally, she stops before a large colonial house with a nameplate on the door, Dr. George Richards. She hesitates a moment, then rushes up the few steps to the door. Yes?
Dr. Richards, my name is Jane Elliott. I'm sorry to wake you up at such a late hour, but I'm desperate.
That's quite all right, Miss Elliott. Please come in.
Thank you.
Now, what seems to be the trouble, Miss Elliott? You're pale and trembling.
No, I'm not ill, Doctor. It's Chris. Chris Arnold, my fiancé. Doctor, you've got to help me. You've got to, or something terrible will happen. I know it will.
I'll do everything I can, Miss Elliott. Now, please tell me what's wrong.
Well, I don't know what's wrong. All I know is that Chris is frightened. He's in deadly fear of something.
I see. Where is your fiancé now?
At his home, Brookfield Manor. Doctor, I know it's late, but won't you come with me and see Chris? He needs help desperately.
Please, Miss Elliott, you mustn't cry. Of course I'll come with you, and I'll do what I can.
If you'll follow me, Doctor, Chris's room is this way.
All right. Oh, tell me, Miss Elliott, aren't there any servants in this huge house?
No, Doctor. Chris dismissed them all 2 months ago, except for a cook who's here during the day. He lives alone. Here we are, Doctor.
Who is it?
Chris, it's Jane.
Just a minute. Jane, I've asked you before not to... Who's he?
Darling, this is Dr. Richards. Doctor, this is my fiancé, Chris Arnold.
How do you do, Mr. Arnold?
Why the devil did you bring him? I don't need a doctor.
Please, darling, I couldn't stand to see you.
Forgive me, Mr. Arnold, but it's obvious to the most untrained eye you do need a doctor.
Chris, please tell the doctor what you're afraid of.
I'm not afraid of anything.
I'm afraid that's not true. Your eyes are twitching, and you keep glancing around the room nervously.
Mind your own business.
People who are ill are my business. I want to help you, but I can't unless you tell me what you're afraid of.
Darling, please tell him. Please, you can't go on this way.
Yes. You're right. I can't go on this way.
Believe me, Mr. Arnold, you'll feel much better once you've talked your fears out. Now, suppose you start from the beginning and tell me everything.
All right, Doctor. I suppose it all began 2 years ago at a party Jane and I were invited.
Oh, Chris, isn't this a wonderful party?
The only thing wonderful about it is you.
Chris, don't. People are watching.
A fine thing when a man can't kiss his best girl in public.
At Miss Tyndale's school, we were taught a young lady never kisses a man in public.
Miss Tyndale is setting romance back 50 years. Who are you looking for?
Rana Farouk, my roommate at Miss Tyndale's.
Oh, she's the Egyptian girl you were telling me about.
Yes, I want you to meet her. Only, you better not fall in love with her, as every other man does.
Sounds as though she's a second Cleopatra.
Oh, there she is, Chris. Come on.
So that's Rana. No wonder men can't resist her.
Chris, your mouth is open. Rana!
Hello, Jane. I've missed you.
Rana, this is Chris Arnold. Chris, Rana Farouk.
Hello, Chris. I would have recognized you any place from the picture Jane had of you on her dresser at Miss Tyndale's.
Hello, Rana.
Oh, look, there's Miss Tyndale waving at me. Excuse me, won't you?
Of course, Jane.
I'll be back in a minute.
You know, Chris, at Miss Tyndale's, the first thing I would see in the morning when I got up, and the last thing before I went to bed, was your picture. And I always knew that someday we should meet. And now we have. Why are you staring at me like that? Aren't you going to say anything?
I prefer just to look. Even now, Doctor, 2 years after our first meeting, I find it difficult to describe how beautiful Rana was. She had lustrous black hair that came down to her shoulders, and green eyes that bewitched you. When she walked, she was so lithe and graceful that every eye in the room followed her. I was captivated the moment I saw her.
I see. Well, what happened after that first meeting?
Rana also seemed attracted to me. After that night, we saw each other constantly. Nothing seemed to matter to me when I wasn't with her. It made me indescribably happy to learn she felt the same way. So, just a month after we'd met, we were married.
Please go on, Mr. Arnold.
In the months that followed, I began to see Rana not as the image I had been infatuated with, but as she really was. Vain, selfish, and intensely possessive. She couldn't bear to have me out of her sight. And if I was, when I returned, there would be questions, countless questions. I began to dread seeing her. And then there were the cats. The cat? Yes, she had an insane passion for them.
When Rana and I were at school together, Doctor, she always had a few cats around. She said she couldn't live without them.
The house was always full of cats. She'd sit for hours stroking them, whispering to them, until I thought I'd go mad. Life became a nightmare for me. A nightmare full of cats. And Rana asking questions, endless questions, as to where I'd been and whom I'd seen. Finally, one day I realized I couldn't go on living with her any longer. That our marriage had been a mistake. I decided to tell her so that very evening. May I come in, Rana?
Of course, dear. Good evening, Chris. Darling, why didn't you tell me that you'd had lunch with Mary Walker when I called you at the office this afternoon?
How did you know I had lunch with her?
A friend told me.
Friend? Who was it?
Oh, what is it, Beauty? What are you trying to say?
Rana, put that cat down and answer me. Who was the friend that told you I had lunch with Mary Walker?
You've never met her, darling.
How is it that you always seem to know what I've been doing, who I've been seeing? It's as though you have people spying on me.
Chris! What a thing to say. Now, please hurry and change, or we'll be late for the Hopkins party.
Something strange about the way you always know what I've been doing. Sometimes I suspect...
Chris, look out! You stepped on Sabrina's tail.
I'm sorry, but I didn't see her.
I've asked you before to be more careful. Oh, poor Sabrina. Are you all right now, my beauty?
If there weren't so many cats underfoot, I wouldn't have stepped on her. Why must you keep them around?
Because I love cats. They're beautiful, sacred. Thousands of years ago, my ancestors worshipped cats.
When you speak like that, you almost look like a cat.
And why not? Is there anything in the world more beautiful than a cat? You see? They agree.
Ron, I can't go on like this anymore.
My darling, what do you mean?
Oh, marriage was a mistake. I want a divorce.
Chris, you can't be serious.
Oh, I am, Ronna. Dead serious.
I love you, Chris. And I won't give you up. You are mine, darling. And you'll always be. Nothing shall ever separate us.
Would you care for a cocktail, sir? No, thank you.
Well, even if you won't have one, Mr. Arnold, I will.
Jane, it's good to see you again. Just let me look at you.
It's good to see you, too, Chris.
You're as lovely as ever, Jane.
Chris, you're not looking well at all. You all right?
I am now. Jane, can't we go someplace and talk? What about the sheriff?
It's all right, Chris.
Here, this door opens onto it.
How is Lana?
Oh, she's fine. Jane, I've made such a mess out of everything. I was a fool to mistake infatuation for love. Jane, can you ever forgive me for the way I behaved toward you?
Well, there's nothing to forgive, Chris. I must be going now.
Well, Jane, this is a surprise.
Donna.
Really, Jane, the way you've avoided calling on us, I have suspected you're still in love with Chris.
Donna, you have no right.
Please, Chris. I'm afraid I'll have to be leaving. It's getting quite late. Good night.
Good night, Jane.
I hope I didn't interrupt anything by coming out here so unexpectedly, Chris.
Yes, Ronna, you did. I was about to tell Jane that I love her and that I always will.
I suppose that's why you asked me for a divorce. You've been secretly seeing her.
Secretly seeing her? Is it possible for me to see anyone or do anything secretly without you knowing about it?
No, you're right. It isn't possible. I know everything you do. So I would forget Jane if I were you.
Ronna, how could you possibly want me, knowing how I feel about Jane? You've got to give me a divorce.
I'll never give you a divorce. Never, do you hear? You're mine, and you always will be.
I can still see her, Doctor. She stood there, hissing at me. Chris, you're mine, and you always will be. Suddenly I realized that she looked like a cat. An angry cat. Her green eyes, cold and murderous. Her long nails digging into my arms. Her body tense. For a moment I thought she was going to scratch my eyes out. After that night, I hardly spoke to Ronna. I treated her like a stranger.
Darling, you're behaving very childishly, refusing to talk to me. It's been a month now.
Why are you slowing down?
I want to talk to you, Chris, and I can't talk to you while I'm driving.
There's no point in us stopping. We have nothing to say to each other.
Oh, but we do, darling. Chris, we could be so happy together if you wanted to. You know how much I love you. I'd do anything to make you happy. Anything.
Anything? Then you can give me a divorce.
So you're still thinking of her? Hoping I'll give you a divorce so you can marry her? Well, I won't. You hear? I won't.
I think we'd better be moving along.
Chris, you haven't any right to treat me like this. I'm your wife.
Only in the eyes of the law, not in my eyes.
I hate you. I hate you.
You cat. You almost took out my eyes with those claws of yours.
I'll
Cut your eyes out before I let any other woman have you.
This will bring you to your death. Now, slide over. I'll drive.
Very well, Chris. You think you've beaten me, Chris, but you haven't. Don't think it was weakness on my part because I tried to make up with you this evening.
I know better than to think that.
In the end, you'll come crawling to me. It may take a year, 2 years, 5 years, but I'll wait.
I'll never come crawling to you.
But you will, Chris. Jane knows I'll never give you your freedom. In time, she'll marry. And when she does, all the heart will be gone out of you. And then you'll be mine.
You have everything planned perfectly, Rana, don't you? But I have one escape from you you've never thought of.
Really? And what is that, Chris?
I can escape through death.
Through death?
Yes, Rana. If I should fail to take that curve ahead, we'd plunge off the side of the mountain.
Chris, you wouldn't.
Why not, Rana? You've shown me there's nothing to live for. This at least is a clean way out.
Chris, you don't mean it.
But I do, Rana. Just watch.
No, Chris. Don't.
When I drove the car over the side of the mountain, Doctor, I thought Rana and I were going to our deaths. But fate decreed otherwise. When I recovered consciousness 48 hours later, in the hospital, I learned it was only Rana who died.
Yes, I recall reading about it in the papers. It was a miracle that you survived.
Yes, for weeks they despaired of saving me. But at the end of 8 months, I walked out of that hospital. It was just a week after I was discharged that I ran into Jane on the street.
Chris. Oh, Chris, it is you.
Jane.
Chris, I heard about your accident just a few days ago when I got back from California.
Jane, you always seem to pop up just when I need you most.
Oh, dear, you look so much older. These past months must have been so difficult.
I don't want to look back at the past, Jane, but only to the future. The future I once hoped we'd share. And still do. 2 months ago, Doctor, Jane and I became engaged. It was just about that time that I first began to notice that everywhere I went, there always seemed to be a cat following me.
So that's why you were always looking around so nervously all the time.
Tell me, Miss Elliott, did you ever notice that the two of you were being followed by a cat?
Well, I have seen a few cats around, but they didn't mean anything to me.
Oh, but they did to me, Doctor.
Was it always the same cat that followed you?
Oh, no. One day it'd be one cat and another day a different one. Doctor, I know you must think I'm insane. At the time, I felt I was going mad. That is, until that night.
What night, Mr. Arnold?
The night I saw her. It happened in this very room 6 weeks ago. I had great difficulty in falling asleep. And when I did, I had a nightmare. A nightmare in which I was being followed by hundreds of silent cats. Then the silence was broken by the faint crying of one cat. The crying grew louder and louder. Suddenly, I awoke. But with my awakening, the cry didn't cease. I lay in the darkness listening, realizing that the cat I'd heard wasn't a part of my nightmare. It was real. Yes, real, living, and in my room. I could feel my heart pounding as I sat up in bed. I looked about my darkened room. Then, suddenly, I saw her. 2 burning green eyes in the darkness. There was no mistaking those eyes. Rana. It is you, Rana. Isn't it? Yes, I'd recognize those green eyes anywhere. So you come back. Just as I've always thought of you. As a cat. I know why you've come back. It's because of Jane. You always said that if you couldn't have me, no one else would. That I was yours and always would be. Well, you're wrong, do you hear? Jane and I are going to be married. Trying to scratch my eyes out. You always said you would before you'd let any other woman have me. Well, we'll see about that. There. Perhaps that'll hold you. Nothing you can do will stop me from marrying her. I know that the cats that were following me, spying on me, were doing so under your orders. You're the queen of the cats. Yes, I should have known. Even when you were in human form, you looked and acted like a cat. You think you're clever, but even if you are the queen of cats, you can't prevent me from marrying Jane. So you think you can? Well, perhaps a bullet between those green eyes of yours is what... I emptied the gun at her, Doctor. Then turned on the light. There was no sign of her. She'd vanished. All that I found were 6 bullet holes in the wall.
Now, Mr. Arnold, isn't it possible that you only dreamed all that actually you fired your gun in your sleep and the shots themselves awakened you?
I tried to tell myself that, Doctor. But during the nights that followed, I knew it was not a dream. For night after night, she appeared in my room. I'd lie awake, waiting to hear her voice. And then she would appear. Stare at me with those burning green eyes, waiting. I knew she'd never leave me alone as long as I intended to marry Jane. Finally, I couldn't stand it any longer, and I went to see Jane. I asked her to postpone our wedding for a time, and without asking any questions, she agreed. Doctor, the night I put off my marriage with Jane was the first night that Rana didn't appear. And the first night in a week that I was able to sleep.
Chris, why didn't you tell me that night what was troubling you?
I was afraid you wouldn't understand, Jane, that you might think I was mad.
Do you think, Mr. Arnold, that she didn't appear again because you had postponed your marriage to Jane?
I know it. Weeks went by. Weeks in which I was able to sleep soundly without being awakened by her. I came to think that perhaps it had all been part of a horrible nightmare, and that I was over it at last. Then, a week ago, I asked Jane to set the date for our wedding. She did so, and that same day we took out a marriage license.
Dr. Chris looked so much better that I thought he'd gotten over what was troubling him.
So did I. But the night after we'd applied for a license, she appeared again, in this very room.
And you've seen her every night ever since?
Yes. She just keeps staring at me with those green eyes. Waiting. And Doctor, I have a feeling something horrible will happen if I attempt to marry Jane.
You still have the marriage license?
Why? Yes. Why do you ask?
Mr. Arnold, you've reached a crisis in your life. You're faced with fears that are threatening to overwhelm your sanity. If you want Jane and happiness, you must be prepared to fight.
Fight? What? How, Doctor?
Often when we challenge our fears, we find that they exist only in our imagination. The only way for you to challenge your fears is to go through with your marriage with Jane. Now, tonight.
Tonight?
Yes, I know it's quite late, but a friend of mine who's a judge, I'm sure he'll marry you.
All right, Doctor. Jane, will you marry me? Tonight?
Oh, yes, Chris. Yes.
Sorry to get you up in the middle of the night, Judge, but for reasons I can't explain, it's important that these two be married tonight.
That's quite all right, Doc. Always glad to oblige a friend. Have you got the license and the ring, young man?
Oh, yes, sir. Here's the license. And here's the... What was that?
It's only my cat, Lucifer. Never saw a fellow so nervous. Scat, Lucifer, scat. There, he won't bother us anymore.
Chris, it's all right, Dad. He's gone.
What's the matter, son? Don't you like cats?
No, he doesn't.
Judge,
Would you mind getting on with the ceremony?
All right, Doc. Never saw so many nervous people. Now, young man, you take her right hand. That's it. Now, shall I give the long ceremony or the short one?
Oh, the short one, please.
All right. You, Christopher Arnold, take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife, to love, honor, and cherish as long as you both shall live. I do. It's Runner. Where in blazes that cat come from? It's Scat.
Chris, please, it's only a black cat. You mustn't pay any attention
No,
to it.
of course not. Now, if
Runner, I tell you. Look at her eyes. Why are you so afraid of cats? I told you she's trying to prevent me from marrying Jane. Well, I'll get rid of her for once and for all.
Chris, what are you doing with that gun? Put it down.
This time I won't miss. Oh, I missed. She's escaped. But she won't get away. No, wherever she's gone. I'll find her. I'll find her and kill her.
Chris, come back. I'm out of breath. Doc, where can he be?
No, Miss Elliot. He can't be far off. We'll find him.
There isn't a soul in sight. Doc, you sure he isn't crazy?
Please, Judge.
Well, he sure acted like he was. Pulling out that gun. Listen.
Doctor, that must be Chris firing that gun.
Yes. Come on. Those shots came from close by.
But, Doc, there's no one inside.
I think those shots came from that driveway just ahead.
Hurry, please. Hurry.
We've got to take it easy now, Doc. This driveway's in complete darkness.
Yes, you're right.
Can't see a thing. So, Doc, have you got any matches, Doc?
Yes. Wait a minute. I'll strike one.
Afraid it isn't much of a help. Doc, look. Dead cat.
What?
Yes. It was shot to death.
Look. Here's another one that's been shot to death.
Oh, but neither of them is the black cat.
No. Match is out. Wait a minute. I'll light another one. Come on.
Doc, isn't that somebody lying over there?
Chris!
No, Miss Elliot. You stay with the judge while I look.
All right, Doctor. It would never have happened if I hadn't agreed to marry. I was afraid. So afraid.
Doc, is it Arnold?
Yes, it's him.
He's dead, isn't he? You can see it in your face.
Yes, Miss Elliot. He's dead.
Doc, I don't understand. What happened to him?
He's been clawed to bits, as if by hundreds of cats. His face has been torn to shreds, and his eyes... This is the mysterious traveler. Did you enjoy our trip? Too bad about Chris Arnold, wasn't it? Seems there just isn't any escape from a jealous woman, particularly when she's the queen of the cats. You know, strangely enough, at Chris Arnold's funeral, just as the coffin was being lowered into the grave, the mourners suddenly noticed a black cat with green eyes sitting on the edge of the grave, quietly licking its paws. That cat simply couldn't be driven off. Now, I recall another case in which two ghosts got together and decided, you have to get off here. I'm sorry. But I'm sure we'll meet again.
I take this same train every week at the same time.
You have just heard The Mysterious Traveler, a series of dramas of the strange and terrifying. All characters in tonight's story were fictitious, and any resemblance to the names of actual persons was purely coincidental. In tonight's cast were Maurice Topman, Carl Weber, Inga Adams, Mitzi Gould, John Seymour, and Brad Barker. Original music was played by Paul Taubman. The Mysterious Traveler is written, produced, and directed by Robert Andrew Arthur and David Kogan. Listen next week to a tale titled
0 Hour.
Another strange and suspenseful tale of the Mysterious Traveler. This program came to you from New York. Another program of tense and dramatic action will follow in just a minute. Stay tuned to the station for Official Detective. Carl Caruso speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Strange Wills. Starring the distinguished Hollywood actor Warren Williams and featuring Peggy Weber and Carlton Young with an all-star Hollywood cast. Original music by Del Castillo. Dead men's wills are often strange. We cannot attempt to understand them or to try to find the answers. We can but tell the story.
This is Warren Williams bringing you the story Penthouse Orphan. But first, here's a brief message from your announcer.
And now, back to Warren Williams as John Francis O'Connell in Penthouse Orphan.
Probably the most exciting phone call I ever received was the one from my good friend and bachelor client, Felix Grayson. I admit that I was totally unprepared for what he had done.
Honestly, John, honestly, I'm going to be a father.
Felix, that's the best one you've come up with yet. You, a bachelor father.
But you don't have to believe me. No one does, but it's a solemn truth. It says so right here in this letter I received from Paris today.
From Paris, did you say? Why, you've never even been to Paris, you gay young blade.
I know, but let me read you part of the letter. Then you'll get what I'm talking about.
I'm all ears.
I quote, Felix, when you receive this letter, I shall probably be gone. But you will hear from my lawyer regarding the trust fund I've set up in my last will and testament.
So you're an heir, eh? Well, congratulations.
Wait, let me finish. The money left you in the trust fund is to go for the education and support of my little baby, Babette. I'm sending her to you by plane. Bring her up as though she were your own.
Say, just who is sending you this Babette?
Yeah, it's a third or fourth cousin by marriage. I've never seen her in my life. We only corresponded a couple of times.
Oh, good heavens, Felix. I mean, Papa, Felix. When's this baby arriving?
I got word by cable just an hour ago that she'd arrive at LaGuardia Airport at 4 this afternoon. John, what am I going to do? I've never been through anything like this before.
I hope not.
What am I, a confirmed bachelor, supposed to do with a crying, helpless little baby?
Well, there's nothing in the law books to answer that one, I assure you. But if I were you, I'd get things ready for her arrival.
Get things ready? Where? How?
Why, Felix, I'd clean out one of the extra rooms you have in that very lovely house of yours and fix it up. You know, crib, high chair, dolls. Well, the usual things.
Why can't I just call up some children's home or something? They'd at least know how to raise a baby. Me, I don't know.
Why, Felix, that's cruel. Just suppose you were a little baby flying in from Paris and someone dumped you in a foundling home. How would you feel?
Well...
And besides, where's that fatherly spirit? You know, it'll be fun being a daddy.
Well, I suppose you're right, John. Tell you what I'll do.
What?
I'll run down and get all the things she'll need and bring them back with me. But you have to help me get the room ready. How's that?
It's a deal. I'll be at your place, say, by 1 o'clock. That ought to give us plenty of time.
All right, I'll be back by 1, and then we'll start reconverting one of the bedrooms. So long.
Bye-bye, Papa.
But I tell you, sir, you have to know what size dresses she wears. I shouldn't have tell you anything.
Well, she's a baby, that's all I know. If the dresses are too large, can't we just snip them off at the bottom?
It's easy to see you haven't been a father very long. Goodness, you don't even know how to dress a baby.
Never mind whether I know how to dress a baby or not. The main thing is to get ready. Now, have I got everything I need? Everything?
Oh, let me see. 3 layettes for a baby under 6 months. 20 dresses for girls ranging from 1 week to 5 years.
Never mind, then. Go on.
Rocking horse, dollhouse, high chair, undies, assorted sizes, safety pins. Now, remember how I told you to fold these.
Sure, like this. Now, you see how easily I learn?
Now, if there's anything you've forgotten, here's my card. Give me a ring and I'll have it delivered.
The only other thing that I can think of is a nice padded cell before I go nuts.
There we are. You see what 2 bachelors can do when they make up their minds?
Boy, was this a job. Now, let's give it a quick once-over before we take off for the airport, John. Crib, chair, dolls, dollhouse, talcum powder, safety pin.
Oh, say, Felix.
Yeah?
Did they show you how to,
Show me how? I was so good they awarded me my diploma in the quick change department before I even got out of the store.
Oh, well, our little Babette certainly has a surprise waiting for her.
Yeah. The poor little thing, alone. An orphan.
Now she's going to be your little penthouse orphan, Felix. Tell you what let's do.
What, John?
Let's give her a real bang-up welcome party.
Yeah, that's an idea. Now, we could get a clown from the circus. Boy, will she be tickled.
And I'll give her a puppy. Children always like little puppies.
Swell. But if we don't get out of the airport fast, John, we'll miss her plane altogether. Oh, one last thing. What about the nurse? Did you call?
All set. She'll be here before we get back. Come on, Felix. Let's give baby Babette a real welcome.
Transatlantic plane from London, Paris, Berlin, unloading gate 4.
There it is, John. See it?
Come on, let's get over to gate 4. So we're right there when she comes out.
Okay. Let's hurry.
Here we are.
Stewardess will carry her out. John, I'm so excited.
Now the passengers are unloading. Any minute now.
Yeah. Well, there's the stewardess, but she's only carrying a briefcase.
Oh, be patient, man. Be patient.
But John, everyone's off. What happened to baby Babette? Where is she? Where is she?
Mr. Felix Grayson.
Yeah?
Mr. Felix Grayson.
Oh, hey, John, that's me.
Please report to the information counter.
Information counter? John, they want me inside of the information counter. Come on, let's run.
Good heavens, Felix, you'd think this was a matter of life and death.
There it is. There's the information counter, but there's no one there. I don't understand.
Wait a minute. Here comes a very beautiful young lady. I saw her get off the plane. Why don't you ask her about baby Babette?
I will ask her. Maybe she'll know. I beg your pardon, miss.
Oui, monsieur?
Have you seen a little baby?
Have I seen a little baby? No, I've not seen a little baby.
You haven't seen a little baby? My goodness, what could have happened to her?
What could have happened to which, monsieur?
I was supposed to meet a little baby. She's coming from Paris.
But I've been on a plane from Paris. There was no little baby.
Are you sure? Are you certain?
I see the whole plane with my big brown eyes. I look at everyone in it not once but many times. There's no other baby. In fact, the only baby on the whole plane is Babette.
Babette? But that's the baby I'm looking for. Where is she? Where is baby Babette?
You are looking for the baby Babette?
Yes, I am. I thought the stewardess would carry her out, but I was mistaken.
Monsieur, the stewardess will never carry the baby Babette from the plane. Of that I can assure you.
Won't carry Babette?
It is impossible.
But why? Why is it impossible?
Because, monsieur, I am Babette.
Later the next day, I found my good friend Felix over at our Madison Avenue retreat. He was sipping a cocktail and lost in thought. Rock-a-bye, baby, on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. Well, if it isn't the bachelor father in person.
Oh, sit down and join me in a cup of sorrow.
Cup of sorrow? Oh, come now. I saw her, too, you know.
Oh, what a fool she must think me, John. Imagine me taking her home to her room and filled with everything for a little baby.
Well, after all, no one said she was 18.
John, isn't she beautiful?
Without doubt, the most charming young lady I've ever seen. But what now, Father?
But now, I only wish I had the answer. John, what are my friends going to think? I told them all about the baby coming, and now when they see her...
Oh, just say the plane got delayed in transit. She started out as a baby, but by the time she arrived...
Boy, I can see those haughty eyebrows being raised all over the place now. Papa Grayson, they'll call me. What am I going to do with her, John? It's serious.
Well, she's well chaperoned, isn't she? You've got a manservant and 2 maids. It's quite proper, you know.
Hello, it's Tony's the place. Oh, just a minute, please. For you, Mr. Grayson.
Oh, thank you, Tony. Hello? Yes, Babette. Yes, I'll come right home. Goodbye.
Ah, on your trail already, is she? And what does Babette want now?
She said, come home, Father. I'm lonesome.
I'll never forget the afternoon I called on Babette. She was even more exquisite than the first time I saw her, if such a thing was possible.
Oh, Monsieur O'Connor, I'm so very, very happy to see you.
And I'm glad to see you too, Babette. Where's Felix?
I don't know, Monsieur. He goes away early in the morning and doesn't come home until late at night. I don't think he likes me.
No, that's a silly thought, Babette. I happen to know he likes you very much.
But I call him Father and he says, no, do not call me Father. Why is that, Monsieur O'Connor?
Well, that's understandable, Babette. You see, Felix is quite a man about town.
Man about town? What is this man about town?
Oh, that means that he considers himself quite a, well, how should I say it? Quite a man with the lady.
Oh, what you call a lady killer, eh?
That's right. Now, when a beautiful young lady such as you comes along and calls him Father...
I see. He no longer is a lady killer, but only an old man who should stay at home and smoke his pipe. Is that it, monsieur?
That's about it, Babette.
Well, then, I will give him a new name.
New name?
Yes, something he will like better. From now on, I will not call him Father. No, I will call him Daddy.
Act 2 of Penthouse Orphan, written by Ken Crupine and directed by Robert Webster Light, will continue in just a moment. now, back to the Strange Will story, Penthouse Orphan, with Warren William as John Francis O'Connell.
During the following month, I saw less and less of Felix. He and Babette had become the best of friends, and they spent considerable time together in the museums, art galleries, theaters, and concert halls. After all, 32 isn't so awfully old, nor 18 so very young. Then one day, early in September, Felix called me over to his house. He said he'd come to an important decision, and that I should be present.
John, I particularly wanted you over today to approve my action regarding Babette.
What's on your mind, Felix?
It's common knowledge around town that she and I have grown very fond of each other. Oh, it's no affair of the heart, I can assure you.
No?
No. Only I think that I should send her away to school. After all, she's 18 and still young enough to take advantage of education.
And what does Babette say about going away to school?
Well, I haven't told her yet. You know, John, she loves the city. Likes to spend hours just wandering around looking into windows. Looks like heaven, she said.
Well, I can understand why. New York is heaven to lots of youngsters.
Anyway, I want you to suggest that she go away to college.
Me to suggest? What's the matter? You lost your nerve?
Well, maybe I have. I don't know what's the matter, but, John,
After all, she's only the child of your third or fourth cousin by marriage.
Well, after all, she's Babette, and that's what matters. John, if I don't get her out of this house...
Then what, Daddy?
Babette, I didn't hear you come in.
Hello, Mr. Orphan. How is it, Rick?
Oh, fine, Babette, just fine. And how have you been?
What is my daddy up to now? I hear him say if I don't get Babette out of this house...
Babette, Felix thinks you should go away. School.
Yes, Babette, that's what I was talking over with John when you came in.
I? Go away to school? Pourquoi? But why? I've already finished school in Paris.
I want to send you to some lovely girls' finishing school, Babette. You know, where they teach you to ride and swim.
They have all these things here in the city.
He wants you to learn more, I guess, Babette.
Learn more? I, Babette, learn more? But for what? I know all of the different perfumes. I know how to make up my face to be beautiful. I know how to be alluring.
That's just it, Babette. You know all about those things. But now, look, I want to show you how little you know. Now, when was the War of the Roses? Now, go ahead. Tell us, when was the War of the Roses?
War of the Roses. You're fooling.
No, I'm not. That's just one example. All educated people know when the War of the Roses was. You have to learn those things to be looked up to.
Really? Sherry?
Yes, Babette?
You tell Babette what you call War of the Roses.
Why, sure.
Yes, really? You are the one with a good education, no? You have gone to the university, you have traveled. Now tell Babette, when was this War of the Roses?
Well, now, let's see. 1492, Columbus crossed the ocean blue. No, that's not it. No, wait a minute. Wait, I've got it. You see what education does for a fellow? The War of the Roses, Babette, was fought on last January the 1st in a place called the Rose Bowl in a city called Pasadena. That's it, isn't it, John?
Well, of course. That's one of them. They come on year after year, year after year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I do need what you call this education. In Paris, we do not know there was a war. We think Americans never have what you call a revolution each year in California. All right, Felix. I will go to school.
Well, Babette went away to finishing school, all right, and she turned out to be a brilliant student. She caught on quickly, too quickly, because one night, months later, she called me.
Hello?
So you fooled me, huh?
Oh, it's you, Babette. I've been living in dread of this moment.
You tell Babette the big story, Daddy.
I only did it for your own good, Babette. I wanted you to go to school, honestly.
War of the Roses in Pasadena. It's what you call the baloney.
I'm afraid it is.
And you want to know how I know? I didn't find out from the teacher.
No? Well, who told you?
Gus.
Gus? Who in the name of heaven is Gus?
Gus is my boyfriend. His name is Gus Yakadich.
Gus Yakadich. Well, there can't be anyone with a name like that.
He's a big, strong fellow. He plays football, and he's a graduate of the FBI.
Graduate of the FBI? What have I let myself in for?
He told me War of Roses is a football game.
Oh, he's right, Babette.
I'm bringing him to New York for the weekend. I want you to meet my Gus.
Your Gus? Babette, it's not serious.
I think I married his boss. He's a big, strong man.
No, Babette, listen to me. Remember, I'm your father. I mean, don't do anything rash until I talk to you. Now, bring this Gus fellow up here where John and I can meet him. It's only for your own good, Babette.
Yes, Daddy. I'll bring him to see you this weekend. Gus wants you to meet him, too.
I tell you, John, we've got to do something about this Gus fellow. Who does he think he is coming in and taking Babette away from us?
Away from us? Come now, Felix, it's about time we had a little heart-to-heart talk about Babette.
Talk about what?
Well, Daddy, if I know anything about human nature, you are in love with Babette.
Me in love with Babette? Well, you talk like a...
Oh, do I? Listen, Felix, I've known about this thing for months. I've watched you grow from a respectable bachelor into a fiddling, fuddling Romeo. Come on now, admit it.
Oh, all right. You lawyers are too smart. Anyway, she's 19 now.
Yes, that's just the trouble. Can you stand up against some young buck like this Gus Yakadich, for example?
I'll get Charlie Atlas to help me. He puts big muscles on you almost overnight. I'll take setting up exercises every morning. Sleep with my window open, eat spinach. I'll show that big palooka.
Now, wait just a minute before you do all these things. When does Babette and this FBI boy arrive?
Any minute.
Well, what do you say if we sort of look him over first? Let's try to find out his weak spot. Once we know it, we'll smash through for a touchdown.
Oh, they're here. They're here, John. What'll we do now?
Take it easy. I'll let them in, and then we'll see what there is to do.
Oh, Monsieur O'Connell, I'm so happy to see you.
Babette, welcome back to New York.
Where is my daddy?
He's in the library taking his... he's reading a book.
Oh, pardon me. This is Gus. Gus Yakadich.
How do you do?
Hiya, chum. How's tricks?
Tricks? Oh, fine, Gus, fine. Come along now, you two. Felix will be very happy to see you both. Especially you, Gus. He admires big, strong men of brawn.
Well, that's about the end of the story. I finished the course at the FBI and turned pro. Lots of dough in professional football, you know.
Yes, Daddy, you see? Lots of dough.
Well, Gus, you certainly are built for professional football.
Yeah. I'm 6'2" with me shoes off, and I weigh about 213.
I'm afraid Atlas can't help me much, John.
Gus, you know, to me, it seems a shame that you gave up your career with the FBI. Especially if you and Babette are serious about getting married.
Oh, I can keep Frenchie here in dotage on what I make. $1,200 a game. That's lettuce. Real cabbage. Ain't it, Toots?
Lettuce? Cabbage? Sounds more like soup.
Well, I figured that by the time Frenchie and I get hitched, we'd really be in the clover.
And when your professional days are over, can you still go back to your FBI work?
Oh, anytime. You know, once you learn that trade, it never leaves you. I still cut hair in my sleep.
Cut hair? What's cutting hair got to do with the FBI?
Oh, that's where I learned how to do it. Right over in Philly. FBI. Franklin Barber Institute. It's the biggest barber college in the East.
While Gus and Babette were busy in another part of the house, Felix and I had a board of strategy meeting. There had to be a showdown, we all realized, and at once.
I'm convinced, John, that if I can show Babette that I'm stronger than this Gus, I'll have a chance. But how am I to do it?
Well, you certainly would look funny if you tried it with boxing gloves.
I wouldn't even be able to look, period. No, it's got to be something where brains can outsmart brawn. That's the only way I've got a chance. Say, what position does Gus play on the football team?
A tackle, I think.
Tackle, huh? Good. Then I think I've got it, John. Now, listen. I'm going to take Gus out to the kitchen and lock the door. I want you to keep Babette in here and tell her we're having a fight to the finish over her.
Good heavens, you don't really mean
now,
to...
just do as I say. I think everything's going to be all right.
But why does he have to lock himself in the kitchen, Monsieur John? Gus will kill him.
Well, Babette, that's how much Felix loves you, I guess. He's ready to die for you if necessary.
But I don't want Felix to die. Oh, Monsieur O'Connell, you men are all so stupid. Why do you think I brought this oof here today? Just to make Felix jealous so he would give me the proposal? Oh, it's Felix I love. Felix. And now Gus will kill him. We must break the door down before something terrible happens. Felix! Felix! Oh, Felix, Gus will kill you. I love you, Felix. I only want to marry with you. Stop this fight. Stop this fight.
Warren William will be back in just a moment to tell you the rest of the story of Penthouse Orphan. But first, here's a brief message from your announcer. And here again is Warren William as John Francis O'Connell.
I was just as anxious to find out what happened behind the locked door of the kitchen as you undoubtedly are. Well, it seems that when the boys got together...
I understand you play tackle on the football team. Is that right?
Yeah. And, brother, they gotta be awful good to get by me.
Gus, I tell you what I'll do. I've always wanted to learn the real secret of being a good tackle.
You?
Sure.
A tackle? Why, you ain't big enough to tackle your own shadow.
Never mind. I still want you to show me how.
Yeah?
And, Gus, for your lesson, I'm going to pay you the same rate you receive for a real game.
$1,200?
Mm-hmm.
Well, come on, buddy. I'll teach you quick.
Gus, don't push. Just take it easy. Now, first of all, I want to see the flying tackle demonstrated.
Oh.
Now, I'll stand right here, right to the stove here, and you get back on the other side of the room.
Yeah, I'll get back way over here.
That's it. Now, when I say go...
Hey, you don't say go. You say hike.
Oh, all right. When I say hike,
yeah,
you leave the ground and dive for me. Bring me down with a real flying tackle.
Uh-huh.
Give me the works, everything you've got.
I got it.
Okay. Now, are you ready?
I'm going to spring through the air and hit you like a ton of dynamite.
All right. Hike. Well, Gus, you can't hear me. But for your information, I learned that sidestep at Notre Dame. Elmer Layden never did believe too much in brawn. Too bad that stove was behind me. Well, have a nice nap, Gus.
Well, after Babette and Felix got Gus patched up, and Felix paid his $1,200, they got married and left on their honeymoon. And where did they go? They went to California, to Pasadena, of course, to see the War of the Roses, or should I say, the Tournament of the Roses. Next week, I have a story to tell you about a man who died and left his whole estate, almost $1 million, to a girl he met in seething, fabulous, romantic Singapore. He didn't know her real name, and she never found out his. For a most unusual story of love, intrigue, and romance, set in that strange city of half east, half west, be sure and listen to the story we call Singapore Liz. This is Warren William, inviting you to tune in again next week.
Strange Wills is a Teloways feature produced in Hollywood. Any similarity between names used on this broadcast and those of living persons is purely coincidental.
Direct from the Grand Ballroom of New York's Waldorf Astoria Hotel, Autolite and its 98,000 dealers bring you Mr. Van Johnson in tonight's presentation of Suspense. Tonight, Autolite recreates the story of the first international automobile race. The story is based on fact and is called Around the World. Our star, Mr. Van Johnson. This is Harlow Wilcox speaking for Autolite with greetings from the great Easter Parade of Stars automobile show in the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City. On display are 40 new car models in exciting colors. They were produced by leading car manufacturer members of the Autolite family. Here, too, are spectacular action displays, working models of a Navy torpedo and aircraft carrier, along with other interesting exhibits provided by our armed forces. Plus, special cars styled by leading American and European designers. Record-breaking crowds of enthusiastic visitors have seen the show since Saturday's opening, and before it closes Thursday, many more are expected to see this spring spectacle. And now, as a special treat for our visitors here at the Easter Parade of Stars Auto Show, and to you at home, Autolite has brought our cast and our star, Van Johnson, to the stage of the Waldorf's Grand Ballroom for the true and exciting story of the one and only auto race around the world. This famous race took place in 1908, just 3 years before Autolite developed the first 2-unit 6-volt electrical system used as original equipment. But now, let's listen. Van Johnson is appearing by arrangement with MGM, producers of the Technicolor musical Small Town Girl, starring Jane Powell and Farley Granger. And now, transcribed, Autolite presents Around the World, starring Mr. Van Johnson, hoping once again to keep you in suspense.
My name is George Miller. These are my opponents, Monsieur Bossier de Saint-Chaffray.
Enchanté. I am driving the Didion. My crew is also French. Vive le sport.
Lieutenant Hans van Koppen.
Driving a Protoss. A German car, as are my technicians. German.
Senor Anthony Scafolio.
Come sta? Italian with my crew, with driver of the Zust automobile.
The gentlemen you have met, and a couple of others who you will meet presently, who are riding with me, all of us are going to have a race in automobiles around the world. New York to Paris by way of Siberia. It's 1908, Lincoln's birthday. A bright and sunshiny day, Times Square, New York, 10 a.m. I'm the driver of a 4-cylinder, 60-horsepower car taken from stock, the Thomas Flyer. However this thing comes out, and I'm not offering any excuses, but in all fairness, you should know that the other cars have been built especially for this race. But the Thomas Flyer, anybody can go and buy one off the floor. The members of my crew are Montague Roberts, who knows about maps and motors, and Mr. Colby, correspondent for the Combined News Services.
How do you do?
Hello.
Gentlemen, are you ready? All right, gentlemen.
How far is it to Buffalo?
We're only 50 miles from 43rd Street to Times Square, George, and 102nd. The Dion is still ahead of us.
I didn't ask you how we
to make an observation, gentlemen. About the rain again, Mr. Colby?
Yes, of course. As long as we're going around the world together, I don't think we should immediately exhaust whatever food or conversation we have in store for each other. I think the things at hand are the elements, for instance. Please talk to us about the rain, Mr. Colby. A prediction. Because of rain, one day an alert automobile manufacturer will produce a top attached to the body which can be lowered or raised. And a soul can sit in comfort and not be drenched like now. Mark my words.
Montague. Yes, George.
How far to Buffalo? Observations about the mud, Mr. Colby? Mr. Colby.
He can't hear you, George. He slid down on the floor and back and pulled his raincoat over him and the rug and...
The French car, they're stuck in the mud.
Give it the gun, George. Oh, George, we could have passed.
We can't just leave them sitting here. Hi, monsieur.
Stop. All of a sudden, no road. Only mud.
Oh, we'll give you a hand. Hey, you're really in there deep.
Your American mud is of a peculiar viscous quality. My men have not the strength.
There's some wooden planks in back of my car. You can lift the back end up and slip them under. Monty.
Sure.
Monty will tell your men what to do.
Allons. Monty! Monty! Be careful of Mr. Colby. He's on the floor thinking about the elephant.
Well, how do you like it, monsieur?
Senator, rain or mud, it is happening. Soon it will be Buffalo. Tell me, Buffalo, is it a nice place? You can get a hot meal?
Never been there, but I'm sure you... Mr. Colby was saying a while back that someone's going to invent a top you can put up when it rains.
We French have already outmoded this proposed invention.
What?
Attendez, one moment. The invention of which there is no absolution. Cognac. Appelez-vous, monsieur.
Well, thank you, monsieur.
A toast.
A toast.
To our men who are crazy enough to join us around the world by way of Siberia.
I'll drink to that. Here's the bottle.
Hold on to it, monsieur. A toast. To your gallantry, monsieur. For the health.
Okay, George. Fix them up fine.
All the thanks in the world. Barbara, adieu.
Nice fellow, huh?
The boys he's got with him are princes, too.
Well, no use standing out here in the mud.
Stuck.
I know it.
What have you got in that bottle, George?
Cognac. 3 hours later, the rain stopped. Then a rainbow came. His name was Pat Kendall, and he was driving a team of horses. He helped us out of the mud. Then he led the way for us into Buffalo, still behind the French car. After Buffalo, Toledo, then Chicago. And we were a day ahead of everybody. Omaha, Cheyenne, Ogden, and we were 4 days ahead of the other cars. Down embankments, across desert, forging rivers, over flats and over hills, then 60 miles outside of Ogden.
The tumbleweed.
What about them, Mr. Colby?
I'm no mechanic, you know.
What about the tumbleweeds, Mr. Colby?
Riding over them the way you do.
We've already discussed that, Mr. Colby, when you were asleep. Oh, Mr. Colby.
Yes, Montague?
You're a correspondent for a whole syndicate of newspapers. Aren't you supposed to take notes of something? How can you do that when you sleep so much?
A good question.
Well, how can you do it?
I am a journalist.
So?
My dear Mr. Miller, when a journalist has seen one tumbleweed, he can close his eyes and imagine a vastness of tumbleweeds, hundreds of square miles of tumbleweeds, such as we are now negotiating. Wake me at the next town.
I'm afraid not.
Why not, Mr. Miller?
You're quite right about the tumbleweeds riding over them. They're liable to foul the transmission.
And that's why you won't be able to sleep, Mr. Colby. We're going to ride on the railroad ties.
Really?
Really. Besides, how do you think we're going to cross that river up ahead?
My word.
Well, here we go.
How do you like riding on railroad ties, Mr. Colby?
My word. George. What? I haven't driven since Cheyenne. Let's change places, huh?
There's a trestle up ahead.
I know. You're getting all the
On the other side of the trestle. If we go over into that river, I want it to be my fault, not anybody else's.
Mr. Miller, have you ever driven over a railroad trestle before?
No. Don't look so worried, now, Monty.
Wait a minute. All right. Move over, will you?
Yeah.
But don't look at me like that, George.
Let's get out and see. I'll get into the car. Marty, come here.
What do you see?
I don't see any clutch shaft. That's one thing I see.
Oh.
Cracked right off. Where are we, Marty?
Under a Thomas Flyer in the middle of the desert.
Yeah. Mind if I ask you another question, Marty?
Go right ahead.
How far from a town? A good-sized town. One that would have a blacksmith.
About 30 miles. That way.
Well, let's get out from under here.
Oh, over there on the sand, George. The other part of the clutch shaft.
Uh-huh. We've got to get the part to a blacksmith.
There's no two ways about it. Somebody's going to have to walk 30 miles.
Somebody who's had a lot of rest. Mr. Colby. Mr. Colby returned 16 hours later. The blacksmith returned him in a wagon. Mr. Colby was sleeping in back of it. The clutch shaft was repaired, and the Thomas Flyer and the three of us were ready to go again, so we went. We arrived in San Francisco 12 days ahead of the other contestants. They gave us a cup, and we left for Seattle. When we arrived there, they gave us a cup. And according to the prearranged route, we loaded the Thomas Flyer on board a steamer and sailed for Valdez, Alaska. It was very cold in Valdez.
My word, it's cold.
Many people in Valdez had never seen an automobile before. And as a token for our achievement, they gave us a cup. They showed us a smaller cup which they were saving for the Frenchmen who were 10 days behind. On April 8th, when the snowdrifts were piled from 3 to 12 feet high, we left Valdez for the Yukon and the Bering Straits, which were frozen over this time of year so we could drive straight to Asia. We were thankful for the foresight of bringing chains along, a new innovation, and thankful, too, for the efficiency of the motor of the Thomas Flyer at 20 degrees below zero. Headway was very slow. 3 days of it, and we only covered 22 miles.
Hundreds.
What did you say, Mr. Colby?
Hundreds. When you've seen one of them, you've seen...
Yes, we know, Mr. Colby.
It is bleak, isn't it?
George.
Yes.
If anything went wrong
Don't
here...
think about it. Talk about something else.
The German car was in Omaha when we got to Seattle.
I know.
The Italians in Salt Lake City.
I know.
The French, these months.
We know all about that, Monty.
You say something, Mr. Colby?
I was just going to say that... What was that?
Get out of the car, quick! An ambulance! One! You all right, Monty?
Yep.
Mr. Colby?
Look at the car. It's covered.
Let's start digging, boys. Can't get caught here.
Well, all our equipment's covered. The shovels.
Improvise, Mr. Colby. Use your hands.
Oh?
Hey! Hey!
Fellow in snowshoes. Wonder what he wants.
Hey there! Howdy. Howdy.
Hello?
You the fellas driving an automobile around the world?
That's right.
Where's your automobile?
Under the snow. We had a little...
Snowslide, eh? Have 'em around here all the time. Well, I'm glad I caught you fellas.
Oh, we are, too. We could use the...
They sent me out from Valdez to find you. Got something to tell you.
Tell us?
You fellas are going the wrong way.
Wrong way?
The rules of this race have been changed. You don't go through Alaska. Can't be done anyhow. The Bering Straits don't freeze over.
What?
Here and there they turn to mush, but they don't freeze over. Never have.
Then what are we supposed to do?
Go back to Seattle. That's all I know. Automobile in Alaska. That don't make no sense at all. Well, come on, I'll give you a hand. Dig you out. I hope this little side trip didn't lose you boys the race.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Van Johnson in Around the World. Tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. This is Harlow Wilcox speaking again for Autolite and the colorful Easter Parade of Stars automobile show in the Grand Ballroom of New York's Waldorf Astoria Hotel. Here are 40 exciting car models produced by manufacturer members of the Autolite family. In the balcony overlooking the ballroom is a 38-piece band of the Women's Army Corps. In rooms surrounding the ballroom are special action displays dramatizing the latest engineering advancements of the automotive industry, as well as special exhibits featuring outstanding accomplishments of our armed forces. Autolite is proud to be a part of the great automotive industry and to have contributed to the development of today's fine cars. Autolite serves the greatest names in the industry. Tonight, in the climax to the second annual Autolite Family Salute Program, Autolite is privileged to salute distinguished members of the Autolite family whose cars are on display at the Easter Parade of Stars Automobile Show and to salute their dealers throughout the world for our many years of close association.
And now Autolite brings back to our soundstage Mr. Van Johnson in Elliott Lewis's production of Around the World, a story based on fact and well calculated to keep you in suspense. This is George Miller again. I'd like for you to hear a few comments from my opponents in the round-the-world automobile race. Senor Anthony Scafolio.
I wish to tell you how much I enjoyed the trip by boat from Seattle to Yokohama. The fact that we come in 12 days behind the Americans to Seattle was due to an oversight by a navigator.
Thank you, senor. Now, Lieutenant Hans von Koppen.
This is not possible that we arrived 6 days behind the Americans to Seattle. However, we are happy to be in Yokohama.
Monsieur Bossier de Saint-Chaffré.
What does it matter that the Americans waited a week for us? The wine on the boat to Yokohama was deplorable.
We arrived in Yokohama on May 10, 1908. All the cars were unloaded by sampan since there were no docks. All the contestants rested, saw the sights, and learned to eat with 2 pieces of wood which are called chopsticks. During the short time we were there, the student among us, Mr. Colby of the newspaper syndicate, learned a few Japanese words.
Biru is beer, Obasan is woman, Kawaii is pretty face, Genki des is I am happy.
Our stay in Japan was pleasant. All of us drove to Kobe and were loaded onto a boat, and we sailed for Vladivostok, arriving there May 17. The race to Paris was resumed, except for the Italian car, whose crew liked the ocean voyage so much that they were last seen sailing for the Mediterranean. From Vladivostok to Harbin, a refueling point, we arrived ahead of the Germans, but the French beat us by half an hour.
Hello, Miller. Hello.
Hello, monsieur. Well, you beat us.
The race is yet to be won.
Have you refueled?
A moment ago. I saw your car, so I thought to wait to bid you adieu.
Yeah, well, adieu.
And to save you some time.
Oh?
There is no more gas to be had at the Shilling station.
What do you mean, no more gas?
My American speech is not at the best. I do not know how else to say it. Let me think. How else can I say it? I have it. I have bought all of it. All of the gasoline in order to cross the bigness of Siberia. So, there is no more gas. Adieu. Hello, Debra.
I must say that was rather unsporting.
Marty, go ask the man if he has any more gas.
Right. You have no idea what I shall do when we finally get to Paris.
What are you going to do, Mr. Colby?
I shall lodge a protest with the Rules Committee.
Forget it.
Anyhow, I don't think I like Siberia very much.
Well, you're going to see a lot of it, Mr. Colby. It's the biggest country. What about it, Marty?
No gas.
It was Monty in his charming way who got the gas. There was an army outpost in Harbin. The army of His Imperial Majesty, the Tsar of all the Russias. Monty introduced himself and his charm at the officers' club, and in a little while introduced a variation on the game of poker known as Spit in the Ocean. American money against the Tsar's gasoline. Monty won. Proposed maneuvers of the Harvan outpost of the army of His Imperial Majesty the Tsar of all the Russias was delayed for some time. We headed into the wilderness of Siberia. How far to the lake, Marty?
I figure Lake Baikal is about 50 miles away.
If we miss the boat that crosses it, we'll lose 2 days.
We're well aware of that fact, Mr. Colby.
Don't worry about it. We'll be there tomorrow morning for sure.
Must the French get there first, or the Germans?
Haven't seen the Germans, but we passed the French.
I'd like to remind you that we should not cross our...
What's that up ahead?
Voices.
People on them. In such a locale, they're known as Tartars.
Formed a line, George. You better slow down.
Tartars are direct descendants of Genghis Khan. History tells us that Genghis Khan put 2 million people to the sword. The hobby of these people is beheading strangers.
They're armed to the teeth, George.
Let's go out and talk to them. Hi there. You try it, Marty.
Hello.
Mr. Colby, have you ever had occasion to learn Tartar talk? Mr. Colby.
Uh-oh. Here he comes, George. He must be 7 feet tall.
Hello, Chief. We're just riding through. We're on our way to St. Petersburg. You talk to him, Monty.
Oh, what do I say?
Oh, something charming.
Nice country you have here, Chief. George.
You like the horn, Chief? Monty, give him the horn.
Sure.
He'll only be a minute, Chief. Hurry up, Monty.
Yeah. Here you are, Chief.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Chief. That's the wheel. We need the wheel. Blow the horn, Chief. Here. Isn't that nice? Our crossing of the rest of the Siberian wastes was remarkable only in Mr. Colby's remarking that we hadn't seen the French car for a long time. As a matter of fact, we never saw the French again. We lost only a few minutes at Omsk when we had to stop to let the Trans-Siberian Railroad train go by. Just before we were ferried across the Volga River, we passed Lieutenant Koppen and the crew of the Protos automobile. We were now in the lead. We arrived in St. Petersburg on Thursday, July 23. We were the first to arrive, and there were festivities in our honor.
What a reception.
My word. In the name of His Imperial Highness Tsar of all the Russias, I welcome you to St. Petersburg.
We're very glad
And in full recognition of your remarkable achievements as the first to cross the motherland by automobile, I have been commanded by His Imperial Majesty Tsar of all the Russias to present a token of our admiration. Boris, the cup. Here, take.
In the name of the Thomas Flyer Corporation of Detroit, Michigan, I am proud and happy to accept the cup. Mr. Colby.
Yes, Mr. Miller.
Put this cup with the cups.
And now a toast. Boris, the glasses. Here, gentlemen, take. Boris, the vodka. To His Imperial Majesty, the Tsar of all the Russias.
To Teddy Roosevelt, President of the United States of America.
George, over there, the Protos.
Lieutenant von Kappen. The Germans.
Thank His Imperial Majesty for us. We've got to go.
First, a toast. Boris. To Her Imperial Majesty, Tsarina of all the Russias.
To the Rough Riders.
We're in a race here, you know. We've got to...
Boris. To St. Petersburg, a jewel in the crown of His Imperial Majesty, Tsar of all the Russias.
We've really got to go.
Drink.
To Detroit, Michigan.
Now let there be music and the festival and dancing. Boris.
16 hours. 16 precious hours. We couldn't get away. We tried to, but we couldn't. Finally, at 6 o'clock in the morning, we left St. Petersburg. From there to Berlin, where we were told that the Protos car was a half a day ahead of us. That was on July 24. We refueled and went on. The roads were better, and we made good time. Hanover, Dusseldorf, Cologne, across Luxembourg, and into France. Very good time, but still trailing the Germans in the Protos car. Then into Rheims, still behind the Germans. And the next day, in the morning of July 30, we were outside of Paris. Just outside of Paris.
George, look, the Protos.
Yeah. Hurry. What do you think I'm trying to do, Mr. Colby?
That's the boy, George. We're gaining.
Mr. Colby, throw everything out of the car.
I was about to suggest that.
Oh, do it.
Yeah. We're gaining, George. We're gaining. The cops, too, Mr. Miller.
The cops, too. Hey, Von Kaufman, what kept you? Where have you been?
You'll have not fun yet. You'll have not.
I can't hear you, Von Kaufman.
There's the finish line, George. All those people. My word.
From New York to Paris, almost 14,000 miles in the Thomas Flyer automobile. Our total running time was 88 days. We averaged 152 miles a day over all kinds of country and every sort of climate. We climbed mountains, forded streams, drove through mud, and traversed sandy deserts. We won the New York Times $50,000 first prize, and we had our pictures in every paper in the world. But mostly it was a tribute to our automobile. We proved something. An American stock car circled the globe. And we're not anybody special. Anybody can do it.
Suspense. Presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Mr. Van Johnson.
This is Harlow Wilcox speaking for Autolite and the worldwide Autolite family. Tonight, as the crowning achievement of the second annual Autolite Family Salute program, we have brought you a special broadcast direct from the Easter Parade of Stars automobile show at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City. Tomorrow night, the Autolite family will join in a reception and supper party honoring all women's branches of our armed services. Also, Irene Dunn, Rosalind Russell, Van Johnson, and Robert Merrill. It's for the benefit of our Armed Services Emergency Relief Funds. The Easter Parade of Stars automobile show, with its many new car models produced by manufacturer members of the Autolite family, will be open all day Wednesday and Thursday. Admission is free.
Next week, the story about a man who dreamed of someday having all the money he would ever need, and one day found a way to make his dream come true. It's called The Great Train Robbery. Our star, Mr. Fred McMurray. That's next week on Suspense. By Elliot Lewis, with music composed by Lucian Moravec and conducted by Lud Gluskin. Around the World was written for Suspense by Morton Fine and David Friedkin and was based on fact. Featured in the cast were Alan Hewitt, Ted Osborne, Larry Haynes, Steve Roberts, Danny Occo, and Cameron Andrews. And remember, next week, Mr. Fred McMurray in The Great Train Robbery.